swag. I think they like my Colorado swag. Cause when I'm in that flag, I don't really know just how to act. And when I'm in it go, you know I'm acting bad. Holla and get a bus with my Colorado swag. My Colorado swag, my Colorado swag. I think they like my Colorado swag. My Colorado swag, my Colorado swag. Man, I swear I think they like my Colorado swag. My Colorado swag is pushing 180. Speeding past competition, see you later, baby. Colorado Army with soldiers like the Navy. And boat is where we station, patiently awaiting. When I hit the field, it's so hard to behave. I'm Colorado swagging as the crowd do the wave. Look into my eyes, I can tell that you afraid. Cause you know we finna hit ya.
Welcome into DNVR Buffs Postgame. I'm Henry Chisholm. I'm joined by Ryan Koenigsberg. What's up, Ryan?
Please acknowledge the other person in the room.
Oh, don't worry. That's coming. We had a couple of false starts that you guys don't get to see. Oh, we're not talking about Allie.
You're joined by Ryan Koenigsberg and a glass of whiskey.
Okay, I thought you were talking about Allie as the other person in the room. But sure, no. Introducing you to the whiskey. There's Ryan drinking.
That's the first sip.
Yeah.
Wow.
He's had a long 20 minutes.
I've been waiting. I wanted everyone to see my first sip on the stream. And so I've just been sitting here staring at it, just ready to put it inside of my body.
And a couple of times you've grabbed it and just said, oh, and then set it back down.
I know. Well, it's just like you put a glass of whiskey right here. Like I'm.
Whoa. Whiskey.
Yeah, right. Correct. Whiskey here. I'm just going to want to grab it. So anyways, cheers to 4-0.
All right. Cheers to 4-0. Oh, there's a, let's see. Ben must.
Ben
it's
must,
really low. Far. Yeah.
Yeah. Henry can't read. Ben must intern until we lose. He's good luck. Yeah, that's actually been established. He just can't. He can't be a full-time employee until the Buffs lose.
I like it. Ben, by the way, will be sitting in this empty chair that you can't see in just a couple of minutes. He's listening in to the post-game media conference and is going to report back. So you guys will get to see Ben. I'm not so sure that we get to give him credit. But let's jump in. Biggest takeaways from this game. Ryan, what you got?
Jarek Broussard, just okay.
Yeah, is he okay?
that's kind of my
You think they're going to be all right without Alex Fontenot?
I think this team can maybe withstand that loss at this point.
I'll give it another week. He did get some nice support with Ashad Clayton. Maybe the duo can handle it.
This kid, man, I honestly can't even put into words like what we're witnessing. I tweeted it out, and I'm sure other people have as well. Notably, Brian Howell, who never misses the stat. Shout out.
Yeah.
Like, he's on a better start than Rashawn Salam when he ran for 2,000 yards and won the Heisman Trophy. I don't even know what to say. And, like, someone tweeted at me, they're like, oh, yeah, well, there's a difference in competition level. I'm like, I don't care. I don't care. I'm not saying that Jarek Broussard is better than Rashawn Salam. So if I was, then you could bring a level of competition. I'm saying he's off to a better start than when Rashawn Salam ran for 2,000 yards and won the Heisman Trophy. He's played 4 games. He's over 700 rushing yards. He's on pace for like 2,100 rushing yards in a regular season.
Yeah. No, he has been unstoppable. And it honestly doesn't make sense. Like when you're watching him, because it just feels like every 4, 5, 6 times he gets the ball, there's just a massive part in the entire defense, and he just runs right through it. Obviously, I have to give credit to this offensive line, especially today when they're missing, I think, 2 pieces coming in. They lose 2 more pieces during the game. A third, Casey Roddick, that was late.
Yeah,
they were down 4 or 5 linemen, and things went well. Things went really well for them. That is such a deep group, and I feel like with all the Jarek Broussard love, which should not stop, you got to give a shout out to the offensive line as well.
You do. Those guys have been awesome. Doesn't matter what circumstances they've been over. They've been shuffling, guys playing positions they've never played before all season. I mean, it's been awesome. And it's just crazy to me as I finish off my biggest takeaway here, which is that Jarek Broussard is a god. Like you can make a complaint about Jarek Broussard tonight as he rushed for 301 yards, which is just that, like, don't get caught. Stop getting caught.
Crazy? But it's just so, I don't know, because that really is a valid complaint. Like, we have finally found the flaw in Jarek Broussard's game, and it's that, guess what? Sometimes once you get 60 yards downfield, one of the DBs can catch him.
Yeah, his tank is a little small.
Yeah, and we do have a big enough sample size because he has enough of those long runs that he breaks to know that, yeah, he does typically get run down.
I've been saying at some point he's got to shed the knee brace. I think that's what's holding him back.
Okay.
Yeah.
There's another gear.
Yeah.
Huh.
That's, the governor, if you will.
Before
stopping him from reaching full speed. Oh, yes. Let's watch Jarek Broussard. I can never see enough Jarek Broussard running through people and by people and around people. And here we go.
Hold on.
Okay.
Okay.
Oh, Allie's ears almost died.
That'd be too bad.
That would be crazy.
All right.
Here we go.
There we go.
Backed up. Need one. Breaks a tackle. I thought this one he was gone.
I mean, yeah. I had seen the tweet. We were on a bit of a lag, but when you watch it, it sure does seem like he's
that was
gone.
The first one, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yep. He went from like an average game to over 100 yards.
Yeah.
Right with that play, and I was like, oh. So the funny thing is, before the game, or right as the game started, I think I don't remember what Ben said. Just for the sake of the story, I'm going to say he said, like, I can't wait to watch Nate Landman play.
Yeah.
And I said, I can't wait to watch Jarek Broussard run for 300 yards. I really said that.
He did.
I really said that.
It's just so nice to see it. And we were talking about it. You didn't see it on that play. Like, honestly, that was one of his easiest runs of the night. Like, the offensive line just parted everything, and he took advantage, which, to his credit, he did it. But there were plenty of other runs, shorter runs, where I think what I said was it just seems like he's making right decision after right decision after right decision, and they all are just so quick during a play. Like, he gets the ball, he's going out to the right, and then you're thinking like, oh, is he going to be able to get to the edge? And he's like playing the angle, seeing if he can get to the edge, and then boom, as soon as it's not there, he cuts inside, and you're like, oh, is there a little space here? It's like, oh, nope, and so he just drives forward and knocks back a linebacker, gets everything there. But just every single run, it feels like he's making 4 or 5 good decisions that take advantage of his speed and all the other assets that he has.
It's one of those things that you don't understand in a running back until you see it. Mm-hmm. Like vision and decision making. Until you've seen a guy who doesn't have it next to a guy who does have it, you don't understand how important it is. And like Devontae Booker is a guy who got piled on a lot when he was in Denver because he just kept running into people's backs all the time.
Yeah.
Well, now all of a sudden he's figured it out in Oakland. But like, there's a difference between just trying to get the ball and run as fast as you can and seeing the field. Like his vision, the way he sees the field is out of this world because he's not the biggest, fastest, strongest, anything.
Yeah.
He's dominating teams with his eyes.
Yeah.
It's incredible.
So here's a question. Before we kind of like wrap up the Jarek Broussard talk for now. Oh, Allie has a point.
Sorry. Is my mic working? I think so.
Whoa.
I was going to say, I just saw a tweet that I forgot. Never mind.
Okay.
Wow. Great
Good stuff,
report,
Allie.
Allie.
My mic isn't working.
Oh, okay. Well,
Let us know if you can hear Allie.
back to the point that I remember. Do you think that Jarek Broussard is a threat to leave school early? Like this is like a conversation. I think we're at the point where we're having it. You look at the numbers. What more could you ask of him?
You would think this? Are you talking about this year?
He is eligible, right?
Yeah,
gotta
because
double
this
check
is
on
his
that.
third year
Yeah.
in school.
Yeah.
So he is eligible. Man, I can't see that happening. But at the same time, if I were in his corner, I might recommend it.
Yeah. I mean, what are the odds? I mean, all due respect to this offensive line, to Jarek, but to be putting up these numbers over the course of a 12-game season this year, is that something you would want to bank on? At the same time, though, getting a little bit bigger, getting a few more reps might put him in a better position once he does make it to the league.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying if I'm Carl Durrell.
Oh, yeah. Yeah,
Like,
for
hey,
sure.
Let's build that knee strength back up, get that back to 100%, and let's put some meat on those bones because those guys in the NFL are big and different. But like if I'm his family, I'm saying like, yeah, I don't know how much getting 30 carries a game at Colorado can do for your draft stock moving forward.
Fair. Very fair. I'll get my biggest takeaway out of the way now. I do worry that we're following the structure of the show and the pacing a little bit too closely, though. So I don't know. Okay. Okay.
Oh,
Well,
Ali says it's great. So, what do you think of nachos?
I actually was just thinking about nachos, which is unbelievable. What happened was I actually made like this
I
big
swear
bag
to
of French
God,
fries
you can
yesterday.
make make Henry go on the longest rant. Please do not do that to me.
Give back.
Okay. So what was my takeaway?
Your biggest takeaway.
Oh, Ben,
See, he
you
even forgot.
Oh, see now Ben's gonna show up.
Ben, don't hit your mic.
This is big, Ben.
He's
Don't mess this
muted.
up. Wow.
You're muted. Thank goodness. We should keep it that way, honestly. My biggest takeaway, though, as we welcome Ben Gerding into the show, the DNVR Buffs intern,
If
is
you wonder what he was doing, he's Ben Gerding.
That was so bad. So bad.
my biggest takeaway. The Buffs are right in it for a Pac-12 title, like right in it for a Pac-12 title.
Hosting a Pac-12 title.
With Washington's loss today, if there's an undefeated team that comes out of the Pac-12 South, it will be hosting the Pac-12 title game. Now, I guess there's a world in which they both do, and then that statement isn't totally true. But what needs to happen is USC needs to lose tomorrow to Washington State, or lose or have the game canceled against UCLA next week, and the Buffs need to take care of business one more time against Utah. And we're no longer getting ahead of ourselves, which is something people keep telling me I do. And now that we are here, it is time to say you're one win away from giving yourself a very real chance of hosting the Pac-12 title game and taking on a team that I think that you're going to beat, no matter who it is in the North.
So, here are the thing. Here's what's happening. The Buffs have one game left on the regular season schedule. Just got to win that. That's the one variable that they can control. What I love is USC has 2 games. There's 2 opportunities here. What is their second game? We know they play Washington State. Okay. UCLA?
They're frisky.
They're frisky. That's a rivalry game. Cross town.
Mm-hmm. I mean, USC has given... Oh, you're still going? No,
well,
I'm excited.
This is the most important question, honestly, I think. Should the Pac-12 step in and stop the potential of 2 undefeated teams finishing in the same division? This can't happen in any normal year. Every team in the South is supposed to play each other every single year. So that can't happen ever. Does the Pac-12 need to step in and say, USC, UCLA, that's off. We're playing Colorado, USC next week, and UCLA can play Utah.
I'll take this and then throw it to you real quick, Ben, because you should say some words if you're going to be here. But the Pac-12 does have this, like, I don't know what you want to call it, like almost like an emergency clause in the new policies that they put out for how the tiebreakers and all that stuff is going to work this year. And one little caveat in there is that the 2 teams with the highest winning percentage in the conference will play each other if the average number of conference games played by every team is 4 or less. And I just ran through and did all the numbers. You would need 5 cancellations next week for that to happen. But there is like a world, and we're not rooting for that. But Ben, since that's probably out of play, is that like something that they should be doing anyway?
Absolutely. I honestly, I was thinking about this yesterday. Going into this week, why would you have 2 teams that are undefeated and let it go to chance? Why let it go to these minute tiebreakers? Because that clause about the division, not the one you were talking about, the one where it's like the division tiebreakers when you don't have a head-to-head, there's like 14 different lines in that clause, and we would come down to like the last one. So why do that? Say UCLA, you play Utah. Have they even played? I don't think they have.
Utah's played almost no one.
So let's say UCLA, you play Utah this week. USC play Colorado. Winner hosts the Pac-12 South.
It's so
or Pac-12
obvious.
Championship.
I
Yeah.
know.
It's so obvious.
Which
and
means
like,
they
let's
won't
not
do it.
act like the schedule matters. The schedule hasn't mattered 1 iota all season in any way, shape, or form. So if USC wins tomorrow, the Pac-12 needs to do what is logical and obvious and pit Colorado and USC together. And that way we can have a legitimate Pac-12 South champion, and they will host whatever team wins will host the Pac-12 championship game.
We have Peter here in the comments saying that would make too much sense for it to actually happen.
That's a very good point.
Pac-12 is not elite decision makers.
Did you see the news yesterday that I think it was John Wilner, it's usually John Wilner who breaks these things, basically said that the head of officiating that the Pac-12 hired, he reffed 2 games in FBS football back in the 90s, and that is his experience. But it's just like that kind of stuff that you see, and it's like, yeah,
Do you have,
this
like,
isn't going to go
intramural
well.
experience or
He must, right? I would assume we would hear if it was NFL experience that he was banking on.
right FCS
You would hope.
calling Montana games? Or
You would hope.
officiating
I
Montana. games?
mean, he'd be a lucky guy if that was the case.
I tweeted out, "Don't at me unless your alma mater's undefeated," which means you're still allowed to at me.
This spring, if there's a vaccine or something, we are road tripping up to Montana for some playoff football in March, April.
I'm so down.
Yep. Yep.
Josh is in here, and I'm just going to say immediately no. He says, Josh says, I'd like to segue this with a discussion about Noyer's haircut, please.
If I did that,
Yeah.
Allie would be mad at me.
Yeah. Allie, would you
I
be mad
said
at me
no,
if I did it?
Thanks,
Don't
Josh.
do this. But that's why I brought it up for Josh, because
I-
we're going to acknowledge it and move on.
So there's
Okay.
there's two teams that are undefeated in the country right now that no one thought would be in this position:
True.
Coastal Carolina,
Very true.
Colorado. What do they have in common?
The mullet.
Players with really bad haircuts. You got to keep
Yeah.
it going.
The Buffs have some good hair, too. John Van Diest got some action. He's got the flow going.
Yep.
Half of that offensive line. We haven't said this yet, but shout out to or not shout out. That's not the phrase. But Chance Lytle, thoughts are with you.
Honestly,
And-
I'm giving him a shout out because that was the coolest thing I've ever seen.
Yeah.
After one of the crappiest things I've ever seen.
Yeah.
He's on the ground screaming. He goes from that to laughing, telling jokes. Like everyone that
Yeah.
went up to him walked away laughing.
It was incredible.
Which is so incredible.
We saw Sam Noyer. Like after it happened, like he's
Yeah.
down, head in his hands, that kind of stuff. And then everybody who's walking up to him is laughing, walking away. Sam Noyer, 3 minutes later, is laughing on the bench, telling everybody else on the bench what had happened.
Yeah.
Like it cut to his face the last time that he was like about to actually drive away, and there were a couple defenders,
giving
like
him a
his
blow.
opponents who were out there, and there's like talking, and it's like 3 back and forths in the conversation, and he's laughing, like moving his head around, talking with his arms, and it's like, your leg, we have heard, went sideways.
He was waving to the non-existent crowd as he got pulled
What
off.
a joke! What a joke!
Waving and
Oh.
then he danced. I was like, that was honestly by far the greatest exit after, hopefully not, but seemingly pretty obviously breaking your leg. He somehow put on like an Oscar-worthy performance after that, which is incredible. Like,
Yep.
it's one of my favorite moments like that I've ever seen.
And real quick to that point, I do have an update on that. Someone asked Darrell. He said specifically, very quickly, lower leg injury, pretty significant, going to need some kind of surgery. So he's going to be done for this season.
Sucks.
Hopefully
It does
he's
suck.
able to recover, come back next year because he's playing significant minutes and he was playing very well in that role. So,
Yep.
thoughts and prayers to him.
Definitely. Ben. We didn't really wrap this up, but I too would like to pound the table for USC Colorado next week. And I think
It's so obvious.
if you guys take one thing away from what we're doing right now, let's make this happen. Just keep screaming into the void until it happens. Colorado needs to play USC.
It makes. Well, let's just hope USC loses next week or tomorrow.
Yeah.
And it just doesn't matter.
5:30 game tomorrow. I am so excited.
My guy Delora.
I don't even care what's on Sunday Night Football.
It's the
It's the
Broncos.
You're kidding me.
No.
Yeah.
Good job, Henry.
Check out the tailgate tomorrow morning, by the way, where Ryan and I team up with Andre to talk Broncos football.
Talk about the NFL. Henry's locked in. I just have to say, like, if I were you, I would
Seriously.
watch the other game.
Yeah, I don't even have like a
I
post game
don't
to
have
do.
that
Nope.
luxury,
Nope.
but watch that one.
Yeah, I will not be watching the Broncos play. We know what's going to happen. This isn't the Broncos show.
you
This is
can
a happy
double
show.
screen it. You can
Yeah, I
double
was going to say,
screen
I'm
it.
going
But
split
I
screen.
but I won't.
Yeah.
You will.
Ben, do you have any big takeaways?
Yeah, Carl Darrell, I've said this every single time. I'll say it again. He impresses me more and more every time we get to see him in a post-game press conference. But today was a little bit more interesting. He showed a lot more of his personality. And again, this is conjecture on my part, but it really felt like he was bubbly about the win. He actually looked and sounded happy about being undefeated, and he was joking on the stand. It's funny. I'm off camera doing the post game press conference. In the back corner of my ear, I hear RK say, if he sheds that brace, he's going to do more. Not 2 minutes earlier, Darrell looks off camera to Jarek Broussard waiting and says that as soon as he sheds that knee brace, he's going to have 3 touchdowns in this game. So.
Let's go.
And
and
Ryan,
KD,
you are
kindred
so hot
spirits.
today. You
I'm
are
really
so hot today.
Yeah, I can't miss right now.
he was happy. He was excited. He was joking with guys. Really just showing a different side of himself, but at the same time still being calm and collected. One specific thing that I don't think was talked about a whole lot on Twitter, but I know we talked about while we were watching, was that sideline interaction between Sam Noyer and Carl Durrell after that second Sam Noyer interception. And Carl Durrell was very straight up, which I love the quote. He said, "I'm going to have heated exchanges with everyone who has mistakes." So he was very blunt. Sam, you messed up. I'm not going to. Yeah, and I love that attitude about it. And he added, we don't take anything personally. It's just the competitive nature. But
So that was the whole quote?
yeah, that was all he really talked about it.
I still want to know what Sam said.
Yeah.
I do.
Threw an indefensible interception and then yelled at his coach. I want to know how that happened.
That was a bad throw. And we've seen that is kind of the thing with Sam Noyer, is that there are a lot of things he really did well. A whole lot of things he really does well. But is this 4 interceptions now in 4 games?
Yep. 4 and 3 games. Yeah, 4 and 4 games, yeah.
Yep.
After watching
Thanks,
the
Ben.
Broncos, that feels like
I know. Like, interception per game in college football isn't the end of the world. But you would like better.
Yeah, and you also want more touchdowns. But again, touchdowns are circumstantial. I say this on the Broncos podcast after every game. If you get rushing touchdowns, you don't care that they weren't passing touchdowns. But, I said to you guys after that interception, and this leads to me to a conversation I want to have. I said the only thing that Sam Noyer could have possibly yelled at Carl Durrell is talk to your offensive coordinator about calling that play in that situation.
Yeah.
That's the only thing I could have imagined he yelled back. And the offensive coordinator conversation is one that's bubbling up right now in Buff circles. A lot of people jumping off the Darren Chiaverini train. And for me, I'm not there at all.
No, not at all. Not at all.
And I don't really see why people are going there. Every game you leave, you have things that you can learn and improve on. And what I was most impressed from Darren Chiaverini tonight is I think he went away from his game plan. I think that he game planned potentially poorly for this game. And thought, jet sweeps and those sort of things were going to be the way to go. And on the first play of the game, the jet sweep worked. It didn't work again the rest of the game. And I think that, he had an idea of what this was going to look like. We talked about it a lot when I was on the podcast with you. The Arizona secondary was decimated, depleted. Mm-hmm. They had no one back there. And so I think he came into this game thinking they were going to throw it around a little bit. And I think instead of crushing him for that, which was a fair take, a fair opinion, a fair thought, I want to give him credit for realizing, okay, this ain't working. Sam doesn't have it. Let's give it to Jarek. Yep. And, you can make the case that they should have given it to Jarek. And I made that case before the game. I said...
You did, on the podcast. Yes. On the DNVR Buffs podcast.
I said, if I had it my way, they'd line up in heavy to start the game and just see if they can shove it down their throats. And if they can, there's no need to try anything else. Mm-hmm. They went the other way around. I think, maybe part of the game plan was, hey, let's see if we can get Sam going. And if not, then we'll just run it with Jarek. Mm-hmm. And we have been complaining about how many touches Jarek's gotten, and they did a good job of limiting them today. So I think, the head hunting on Darren Chiaverini, the offensive coordinator of an undefeated team that no one thought would be in this position is way over the top.
Seriously. And I totally agree with that. I think that there are definitely things that I would have done differently. But the start of the game, when things really didn't go the Buffs' way, it wasn't just because Darren Chiaverini wasn't calling enough run plays or because he was getting too cute. There were a bunch of things that happened. I mean, the penalties getting sent backward over and over and over again. I mean, Sam Noyer has that great third down run where it doesn't look like he has any chance of picking up the first down, and he goes and does it. There's a holding, and all of a sudden you're in an even worse spot than you were in before. That was the kind of thing that was happening consistently. The jet sweep to Vontae Chenault, I don't mind it. I don't mind calling that play as often as you want. But, he fumbled it. And he fumbled and he gave the ball back the other side. That's another thing that killed a drive, just like the penalty. Just like I think you could put one of those drives on Darren Chiaverini not running the ball, not pounding it with your best offensive player, a player who I think right now should be seen as an All-American. And should he know, you don't just give the ball to Vontae Chenault when you do have a better option because that risk is present? I don't know. But I do think that things definitely got better as the Buffs went, and I still give Darren Chiaverini a passing grade, certainly for this game.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, when you have a team that's undefeated, everybody's going to look for a reason why you aren't better, why you aren't the best, because you're just trying to be nitpicky. If this team is 1-3 or 2-2 or even 0-4 at this point, this conversation goes a lot differently.
Yes.
But the fact of the matter is Colorado showed something today that they haven't showed all season. They can win when their offense needs to be picked up by the defense. Last week it was a 20-10 game, but that game was never in doubt. It was it was a fist fight in the mud, and we all knew that Colorado was going to come out on top because they're the better team. This time, you're faced with some real adversity. You're down 13-0 in the first quarter. Nope, everybody forgets about that. And they come back, It was a great sign and showing of resiliency from the Colorado team. So now you've seen they've done it in a lot of different ways. They can go out and win a street fight like they did against San Diego State. You can win a shootout with your offense like you had to against UCLA and at times against Stanford. And now you've had a time where your defense, they need to stand up and pick up some slack from your offense, who had 3 turnovers today. The offense, Jarek Broussard, 300 yards, incredible performance, but the offense still was sloppy at times. And, part of that is the play calling. Part of that is the turnovers from Chenault and Noyer. But just showing that balance of the different ways you can win, I think, is what this conversation should become. Because Darren Chiaverini, exactly, was maybe the game plan not the best? No, but he rebounded so well.
And so did Tyson Summers.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Or Tyson Wells is the Fox Sports 1 broadcaster.
How many names did he get? So Tyson Wells was one.
KD Dixon.
We got KD Dixon in there.
I don't know why Katie Dixon just gets me.
Yeah. It was a rough night for the commentators. But back to your point, Ben.
Yeah, no, so, it's just a situation where this Buffs team improved tonight. They improved because they showed fans, they showed national voters, they can win in different ways. And Darren Chiaverini still, with all the flack, called a game where they put up 24 points.
Yeah.
Where,
I mean, that's not enough. But
not on a normal
tonight.
night, but it was exactly.
Yep.
And so when you've got a guy who called a game where you're averaging 40 points coming into the last 2, I mean, you're still averaging probably north of 30 a game at this point, right?
You know what's funny is if they don't hand the ball off to Joe Davis a couple times and maybe choose Ashad Clayton, who, 4 carries, 2 touchdowns.
Things
late
went
in
well.
the game. We were talking about a 31-point performance. We're talking about a blowout. And this whole thing feels very different.
Ashad Clayton had 4 carries. 2 of them were touchdowns. One of them, not one of the touchdowns, one of the other ones went for 17 yards.
Yeah. More.
Are we ready to feed him?
More of that.
Is that like number 2 takeaways? Probably
More.
like get him the ball a little bit. Not out of Jarek's hands by any means, but yeah.
Out of Joe Davis's hands.
Yeah.
And that's interesting because, we sat here just 1 week ago talking about how do you make Ashad Clayton feel better after he was on a bit of a Twitter tirade? And again, what a difference 7 days can make now. Again, 4 carries, 26 yards, and 2 touchdowns. If he becomes your bell cow, you're comfortable with that if need be. So if you change the distribution of these carries, less to Mangum and Davis, and just have Ashad Clayton be your second back who's getting 10 carries a game, you're feeling really good about this rushing offense.
Yep.
Better than you already do for a team that ran for 320 yards tonight.
Let's get our Ashad Clayton Twitter update of the week.
Ooh, I like it.
4 minutes ago, only tweet since the game. God's work.
Love it. That's what you want to be.
That's
hearing.
not complaining.
Before we get on for the biggest takeaways. Oh wait, Allie, you have something?
Yeah, there's a lot of comments going on right now. A lot of people want you guys to kind of talk about what Joel Klatt is tweeting about right now. So I will bring that
I
up.
always love a Joel Klatt tweet. I might regret this, but
So there you go. It's talking about that USC-CU.
you want to read it, Henry?
Yeah, the Pac-12 is really going to keep their division format this season and put a team with a loss in the championship game versus USC while a potentially undefeated CU Buffs football team watches, aren't they? You do you, Pac-12, you do to you. And he keeps going, and it's a Twitter thread, not just one tweet. Keep in mind that the cancellation of both the ASU and USC game for Colorado was due to COVID issues with those teams. Do away with the division format immediately and allow 2 undefeated teams the opportunity to play for the conference crown. Massive implications. Due to the fact that CU and USC haven't had the opportunity to play, this is not only reasonable, but obvious to any objective observer.
Okay, so this is the other scenario. So which one do you like better? Because Joel here is saying, don't play Colorado USC next weekend. Just if they both go undefeated, let them play in the championship game. Which do you prefer, Henry?
That's a tough question. And, here's where I want to start. Where I want to start is the conference championship should be played between the two best teams in the conference.
Well, then you got to really get rid of the division format.
Yeah, seriously. But I think that USC isn't the greatest either. I don't know that USC beats an Oregon or a Washington. At the very least, I think they're very competitive games, and I would be putting my money on either of those North teams. So I would say I think that just have them play this week. Make up that game. It just makes too much sense to do anything else.
I'm kind of the opposite. If the two options are in front of me, I think USC and Colorado playing this week is the more likely option, because I highly doubt the Pac-12 decides to get rid of the division format just for this season. I think it's more likely that they shuffle the schedule. But from someone who, talking to honestly a Colorado fan perspective of it, I think Colorado has a more likely chance to beat Utah and then beat USC in the championship game than they would to beat USC next week and then have to go and play Oregon or Washington. I think their path to winning the Pac-12 title would be easier if they played Utah and then USC rather than having to play someone from the North. But again, I think that is far less likely to happen. So although I do agree with Joel Klatt in here, I think that makes a lot of sense, but I would just like them to do one of the two options at a minimum.
Yeah.
I understand what Joel is saying here. I'm hard on the other side of it. And I'll obviously take that if we don't get the first one. But to me, it seems way more obvious to just play them in the regular season and then go to your normal format. There's a lot less shuffling to be done, because what I think is also kind of unfair, even though, the response could be, well, you shouldn't have lost. But for a team to be playing like, all we have to do is win our division to play for the championship, and then out of nowhere, that rug is just pulled out from under them. It's not right, I don't think. And while I do believe, you can just say, well, nothing is fair this year. I think the more fair thing is just to shuffle a regular season game. Why would UCLA or Utah complain about that?
Cole Cook with a good point. Oh, wait. I thought that's at CU. This is not Buffs news. The other thing that I really like about the idea of playing USC next week is that on the other side, in the North, you have Washington going to Eugene. And we don't really know what exactly the scenarios are going to be, but what we do know is that the top two teams as of right now in the Pac-12 North are Washington at 3-1, Oregon at 3-2. Then you have Oregon State and Stanford both at 2-2. And if Oregon were to beat Washington, maybe you get into some crazy scenarios, but it does look like that game will be for the Pac-12 North crown. And so it's having those two games leading into the championship game. I think, first of all, it's very fair, but also I think that you get pretty good ratings playing both of those games and maybe pull some more people into the Pac-12 title game because they're watching those.
Yeah, I mean, the Pac-12 race right now, assuming that USC wins tomorrow, between both divisions has got to be the closest among any other conference right now. I mean, the Big Ten just changed their rules so they could let Ohio State be in the Big Ten championship game just because they know Ohio State's going to win it. But right now, the Pac-12 not only is it a conference that's known for being fun and wild and exciting already, but to have all of that drama leading into it, I completely agree. So, hopefully they do make that schedule change, because in a season that has been dictated already by schedule changes, it would be only right and you would think logical to make another schedule change. That way you actually have a true determined winner of the Pac-12 South.
Yep. I've got one more takeaway, and I don't even know how to put it in words, and I'm mostly just calling back to something Ben said earlier about the defense picking up the slack. There was one point where they didn't pick up the slack. There was one drive where, actually, I guess there were a couple drives, where the Wildcats were able to move the ball pretty easily. And the first drive was after John Van Diest came out of the game and Quinn Perry went in, and there were a couple of really big runs, including the 27-yard touchdown run. I believe that was that drive for Arizona. And this is something we talked a little bit about on the DNVR Buffs podcast this week, but when you play the one gap technique, these are the games where it gets a little bit scary because you are saying you need to fill this gap, you need to fill this gap, and if you don't, there is a wide open running lane. And against a team that you probably could just line up and beat, that's a risk that you're taking when you go to this. And as soon as Quinn Perry came in the game, and not to hate on the guy, because there was a lot to like too. Like you see him out there playing, the size and the physicality and the speed.
On special teams.
Yeah, seriously. And I think that he's going to have a solid run at linebacker when his time comes. But there may have been a couple of mistakes in there that you don't like to see. And I do think that it's worth noting that when you lose that Akeel Jones, it starts to poke a hole in that front seven.
Yeah, the running defense today was not playing up to snub, and especially too when Landman was off the field for that. I mean, he could have only been off the field for like 5 plays, and they were all big chunk plays. The Buffs gave up 268 yards on the ground today, allowed 2 different 100-yard rushers, and I think his name's Michael Wiley. He averaged 14 yards per carry. So that is definitely, I think, I'm not going to call it an area of concern just yet because they shut down a team like Stanford just a couple games ago, and Stanford ran wild earlier today against Washington. So the front seven still, I do have faith in them as the top front seven, the best defensive unit in the conference. But today was a little bit of a shock as far as, we're not used to seeing teams just run all over Colorado. So it was definitely different in that way, but it's overshadowed by the fact that Colorado ran for 400 themselves, so it kind of balances out in that way.
And they scored 13 points.
Right.
Yep.
So after going crazy early in the game and causing me to panic for the first time I have, and by panic I mean double down on my bet at DraftKings Sportsbook on the Buffs.
I almost
plus
tripled down.
148. But I was worried. For the first time all season, I was worried about the Buffs. And they answered so well. And I love what you said, Ben. Good teams find different ways to win. They overcome adversity. They do all these things. The Buffs today got their backs put up against the wall. For the first time all season, they were really facing some adversity, and it didn't faze them at all.
Yeah.
Agreed. We've got a lot to get to. Next up is going to be the king of the game, the DraftKings king of the game, as well as some helmet stickers we're giving out to some of the top performers. And before we do that, we want to talk just a little bit about DraftKings. Actually, before I do that, I should say we're going to get to questions at the end of this. So if you guys have any questions, throw them in the chat, either on Periscope or on YouTube.
Periscope.
Yeah, I say one word.
Doing so well.
Oh my goodness, this is
Periscope.
Henry, you
That
were
sounds
killing
like some
it.
sort of like investment
It's
banking.
Leave him
it's
alone.
one.
no. They
Right.
have their jokes. Don't interrupt their jokes, Allie.
Leave them alone. Leave him alone.
Love Periscope.
Henry, you were doing great. On topic, on time.
Good
Let's
job,
keep
buddy.
it going.
Henry great, sweetie.
Henry gets a helmet sticker.
Okay. So what I was trying to say was we really appreciate your comments because as crazy as it sounds, we need more things to talk about. So
No,
throw
we
those
don't.
in. We'll get there later.
But we
We
do.
do
appreciate
have
wanna
a
it.
hear
good
about the
amount of comments
nachos?
already. No, we have comments already. Or we have questions
Allie
already.
will stop saying nice things if I talk about nachos. But also, if you're watching on YouTube, give us the like, give us the subscribe, click the little bell button. That means that you will get notified when we're live, all that kind of stuff. Really helps us. Also, you watch on YouTube because it's better. So those are pretty much all the notes. Also, the game may not... Whoa, is that right? The gyms may not be
No.
full. Whoa, I got thrown up because I was like, I have not said this, and it's the same read from all week.
That one's going to be about a game that's already canceled. That was already canceled.
That means we get to come up with our own stuff to talk about regarding DraftKings Sportsbook.
Yes.
Ryan, how great was today betting on the Buffs with DraftKings Sportsbook?
Yeah, I mean, thank God for live betting because I put down several dollars before the game on things that didn't end up hitting. But when the Buffs were down 13-0, I did the old double down, which is one of the most dangerous moves, and it paid off handsomely. So Buffs were at plus 148 at one point. That's the highest I saw them get at. I hit it hard and almost made back all of the money that I lost.
Wow.
So I pretty much broke even.
Got the
Yeah.
money line. Woo.
Ooh, Allie's making bets now,
We
too.
really loved Colorado minus 4.5 in the first half because they had been blowing everyone out and then letting them back in.
Yeah.
Switch it up on us today.
Yeah, it's been so much fun. Most of my picks were wrong. I'm sorry if you guys listened to me on the DNVR Buffs podcast when we talked about the DraftKings pick of the week, but I still had fun thinking about what was going to happen. And to me, betting isn't even about the money. It's about the time that you have along the way.
Yeah, I call it sports enhancing drugs.
I love when you say that.
Yeah, I mean, that's what it is. Because that's how I justify when I lose. I'm like, well, I just paid to be more interested in that.
Yeah.
Now, I don't need to pay to be more interested in the Buffs. But then I feel better after they win.
Yeah. A whole lot better. And I'm feeling better now, too, because of the Buffs. But you guys should be downloading the top-rated DraftKings Sportsbook app. It's the best app out there. It's the official betting partner of DNVR, so by supporting them, you're supporting us. There are a whole bunch of awesome deals. You can get yourself a deposit bonus up to $1,000 when you sign up if you use the promo code DNVR. So make sure that you do that. It's only available for a limited time, only at DraftKings Sportsbook. Have to be 21 or older. Colorado only. Bonus comprised of a first deposit bonus. Deposit bonus requires 25 times playthrough. Restrictions apply. See DraftKings.com/sportsbook for details. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-522-4700. All right. All of that was to lead into this. The DraftKings King of the Game. I bet you guys can't guess who it is. Yeah. Jarek Broussard. 25 carries. 301 yards, 75-yarder was the long, but he broke off a 50-yarder. He was all over the place today.
How many touchdowns? Oh.
No touchdown. Isn't that crazy?
Yeah, I
Isn't that
decided
crazy?
to not write 0.
0 touchdowns.
Didn't want a 0 on there. He didn't catch the ball either,
You
did he?
should have wrote like 1 knee brace.
One knee brace. Yeah, because, I mean, what's that knee brace worth? Probably another 30 yards and a couple touchdowns.
I'm telling you. 330 yards. 3 touchdowns.
Carl Durrell says you know your stuff.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
And honestly, like the knee brace thing, it's kind of a joke, but it's kind of not.
Yeah.
You know, Henry, you and I have talked about Dallas Walton when we talk about basketball. The improvement from Dallas Walton from last season to this season just by losing that knee brace, getting more comfortable in the injury recovery process is so pivotal. So this is also a great time to talk about, you know, Jarek Broussard. He's not going to lose that year of eligibility, so he can come back next season, hopefully lose that brace, and this stat line is going to say 25 carries for 400 yards and 3 touchdowns. Who knows what else?
Seriously.
I just want people to understand like what they just witnessed. 300-yard games are extremely, extremely rare. I don't know if you have the post-game notes on how many Buffs have ever done it, but I'm sure it's very few.
I don't, but what I can say is that Arizona's never given one up.
Arizona has never given one up. Funny enough, Colorado has given up 2 just to Arizona in the last 10 years. So it was very, very nice to return the favor tonight. I hope that they have nightmares about Jarek Broussard the same way I have nightmares about Kadeem Carey and Khalil Tate.
Yeah, just imagine that. Next year we're going into this game. All the Arizona fans are like, "Oh no, not Jarek Broussard. We don't have to see Jarek Broussard again, do we?"
I was selfishly hoping Noyer was going to be the one with 300, just so they know what that's like. But have it coming from Broussard, that works too.
Noyer did have like what 70, 60?
Yeah,
65 and a touchdown. My guy.
We basically covered our Jarek Broussard thoughts earlier. Ben, if you have anything else you want to add, feel free right now before we close this door.
I mean, I think other than him being a Heisman candidate, and
okay,
you know,
I like where this is going.
You know, I say this half jokingly, but if you think about this.
Joke-free podcast. Famously, this is a joke-free show.
Okay, I don't have to put on the
serious analysis.
Get that dumb smile off your face too. I'm serious here. This is football talk.
Very serious. We're serious here. Jarek Broussard is the best running back I've watched in a Colorado uniform. I was gonna say since
how long have you been to school there? Like you don't even have that big of a frame of reference.
Yeah, but I watched him for a year and a half beforehand. I had to get the right mindset. If this was in a normal season, obviously he's on pace for what was it, 2,100 yards rushing? You know, I hope he's gonna get some national coverage for what he's doing right now because it's incredible. His average per game now is gonna be north of 185, 190, right?
That's the most ridiculous.
I mean,
thing
it's
I've ever
insane.
We're kind of out of the small sample size window now too. Like
4 games is not a small sample.
I know. We're kind of like this is what he's done now, and this is legit.
He's very much in reach of doing 1,000-yard season
in like 5 or 6 games.
In 6,
and it's ridiculous.
6 games.
Wow.
And the only knock that you can have on him is he doesn't have as many touchdowns. He still has 3 of them that he had in the opener. And the only problem with that is because he gets tired because he carried the ball all the way down the field, and then they just bring in somebody else to finish it off.
Also the cramps.
That too. Yeah. I mean, that's...
get this man some more
Gatorade, one of those.
How do you solve cramps?
You
I've
did
no-
bananas too. Those
Bana-
help.
that's
Bananas.
fantastic.
Feed that
Potassium,
man a
there you go.
banana. You know what? I saw we have a petition going. Somebody responded to like the Periscope with a petition to get the CU USC game.
I believe you mean Periscope.
Yeah, cool. Love this. I've said how many words, and one of them was wrong.
But it was a funny one.
Okay. What was I thinking? Oh yeah, but we should also see. I lost my train of thought.
Okay,
There's a petition. Tell us about the
Yeah,
petition.
well, that was a segue into the point. But there is a petition that you guys might as well sign, submitted by one of our friends, Buff Jason, maybe. I looked like 20 minutes ago. But to get the CU USC thing happening,
Yeah, let's do it.
we should also start like a GoFundMe or something to get some bananas for Jarek Broussard. I remember where I was going.
Bananas for
so-
Broussard.
Bananas for Broussard.
I love it.
Okay, I do want to say this cool thing that is going around on Twitter real quick. So, of course, this was Broussard's 4th game, and that's he passed Rashawn Salam's record. And today, 4 years ago today, Rashawn sadly passed away. So it's pretty crazy that on this day, Broussard broke that record.
Wow.
Yeah, and I guess it's not necessarily a record, but it is a
Broke
best
that
through 4
stat.
games. And it's just it's really sad that we lost Rashawn. I tweeted out the video of when Rashawn eclipsed 2,000 yards, and I teared up watching it. Not only just because it's Rashawn, but also like we don't have Larry Zimmer on the call anymore. Larry Zimmer is an absolute legend. So like just watching that is really emotional. If you want, I mean, if you're,
Gives you chills every time.
it does. It gives you chills at the very least. So
And that's something too. You know, I've only been here for 3 years, but that season is still talked about. You know, around the halls of campus and around that football team, and you know the impact of that is huge. And so I think the fact that it did happen today, I mean that is significant because yeah, it's not a record, but I think it's a good standpoint of what success is and what's the standard is for Colorado football, what it can be. So the fact that it did happen today, I mean, that's just impressive. Another kind of notch in the old cap for Jarek Broussard on having an incredible season. And
it might just show that there's a little bit of destiny in this team.
now I'm going to start tearing up.
Oh, wow.
Write an article, Ryan. Write an article,
Yeah, Ryan, if you make Ben cry during this, I'm not going to forgive you. That is not something I am willing to deal with. Ben, if you cry, you're on your own. Just know that's a
I'm
thing.
telling you right now, if
Don't
this-
expect to be up on this shoulder. I'm not wiping your tears or anything.
I'll wipe
That's
your
on
tears,
you.
Ben.
No, okay. That's the Winsky talking.
No, honestly, you felt a little bit of destiny with that Rise team in 2016 and just little things.
Destiny
That
and
feeling
sports
is just
go hand
so
in
big.
hand.
Yeah.
And again, it's so sad that we lost Rashawn Salam, but there's a reason why we have that Pride and Tradition shirt. And there's a Heisman on that shirt that makes the R in Pride. And that's Rashawn Salam. He was unreal, absolutely unreal at Colorado. There it is. I mean, one of less than 25 schools, only 24 schools in history have a Heisman Trophy and a national championship. And with if not for Rashawn Salam, we wouldn't be able to say that. So
Yeah, and it is kind of crazy because these are like the kind of moments that make you remember just how big not just college football is, but like just Buffs football in particular, going all the way back.
The history.
At one point in the game, I think you said like, well, that means that Jarek Broussard is now past whoever it was on the list for 4th or best ever for whatever number of games, whatever the stat was. And it's like, I don't even know that guy's name. And then you look at it, it's like 1935 was when this one was set. And it's like, wow, that was the year my grandmother was born. And so, and it just like puts into perspective all these things that happen. And this start from Jarek Broussard, it's going to be talked about for a while. Whatever happens with Jarek Broussard in the next like however many years that he's playing football, wherever he goes from there, this is something that will be talked about for decades at a minimum.
and this is what Colorado football is all about. Great linebacker play. Like Colorado for a time was linebacker U. 2 Butt-Kiss Award winners. You had Jordan Dizon come through Colorado, who was an incredible college linebacker, best I've ever seen in my life. Jay-Sean Sykes back in the early 2000s when they were dominating, Nebraska in that 62-36 game. And he didn't even play in that game, I guess. But Colorado has always had, when they're good, they've always had great linebackers. And Nate Landman and Carson Wells are holding up that tradition so well.
Should we transition with that?
yes, we
Well,
should. I was hoping that's where we were going.
But then I just want to say, and then the other side of the ball, when Colorado's great, they run the ball great. And that's what they're doing this year. Like, a lot of people rolled their eyes when Karl Dorrell came here because they thought, oh, God, pro style, NFL, blah, blah, blah. But the truth is,
What's the
Henry
truth,
almost
Ryan?
just knocked over
I almost dropped my phone, and then this arm. So, Allie, can we get better arms?
The truth is,
She just shakes her head.
Those are
you're gonna have to
fantastic
hit the
arms.
gym if you want better arms.
They are
I've been doing that.
quality mic arms.
Dude, I'm
just
strong
because
now.
you struggle with them.
What we
doesn't
need is a
mean-
better arm holder.
Okay,
Yeah,
focus
Allie, can we
on
get a
what
better
you were
arm
talking
holder?
Anyways, I was
about.
making a really good
Yeah,
point.
you were.
Nate Landman running the ball, pro style, Karl Dorrell.
Ben, new
Everyone
job.
rolled their eyes when Karl Dorrell came here because they thought that he was going to be too boring, too conservative, too NFL. But the truth is, this is what the Buffs are. This is what Colorado football is. Colorado football is, I guess, with Cepho in that year, it was very much spread the ball out and that sort of thing, but also dominant defense. This team is built on defense and running the ball, or this program was built on defense and running the ball. So if that's what this team's identity is going to be moving forward, I'm quite all right with that.
It's
Yeah.
a style of football that I think it's going to warm the hearts of a lot of, your older alumni, people who were a fan of this team in the 80s and 90s, not just because of what Colorado football used to be, but because that's what football was back then. In having, like you said, you got these great linebackers. Nate Landman legitimately looks like he was picked off of that 70 Steelers defense.
Doesn't this shirt kind of look like Nate Landman?
I mean,
For the
does he wear a
podcast
visor?
listeners,
I don't think he wears a visor.
No,
Go
he
watch
doesn't.
the
But just
live.
And he
like,
definitely doesn't wear a blue visor. It's a great
I don't
shirt,
know
though. I
what's
love
going
the
on
shirt.
with the blue.
I love this shirt.
This
I do-
shirt was created in the 90s. I don't know why they went with blue. on
Maybe
the
it was
visor.
cold in front of him.
Oh, like the tundra.
I
Ooh.
do have a highlight from Nate Landman.
Yeah, show
Yeah.
us Nate Landman.
So
The
I could
landmine.
get
I
back
could
on
watch
track.
Helmet sticker? Somebody want to give him a helmet sticker?
Yeah, everyone wants to give him a
yeah,
helmet sticker.
yeah. I can watch Nate Landman highlights forever.
Show us the landmine. Boom!
Thank goodness that
Look
isn't
at him.
me.
Look at him.
I know. Just
And the shot of him on the sideline when his helmet's off and he's just got blood gushing from his forehead.
and it's forehead.
It's
Two
just
different
incredible.
cuts.
Forehead.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. Well, and then my favorite part was that he's just like smiling, enjoying it, and then the camera pans
It's
down
down.
and shows a gash on his leg that's just like bleeding profusely. And an important note, just maybe 30 minutes earlier, we had seen Carson Wells with blood all over the front of his helmet.
Yeah.
And throw back to the second game when Sam Noyer was out there with the blood on his hand, his throwing hand, before the snap, like multiple
Wiping
snaps,
it off.
he had to bend over and rub it on the turf to get the blood off his throwing hand. That is a gritty football team, and the linebackers in particular.
I honestly don't know if there's anything better in football than when your team has a badass middle linebacker.
There's nothing better.
Like, it just gets you fired up in a different way. It hits different.
Yeah.
Nate Landman is just like the perfect amount of crazy. Like when he plays, he puts his body on the line. We talk about it every week. He shows no care for what he does with his body. He throws himself into piles, and you see that again today with the highlights of him on the sideline covered in blood, smiling all the way through it because he had an incredible day. I think he had 16 tackles. He had a sack. He had a couple tackles for loss. I mean, he just flies all over the field.
I mean, the guy had 14 solo tackles. Are we really going to get excited about 16 total tackles? Come on. Standards have been elevated. I want to see 20.
Like, they don't do player props in college at DraftKings.
In Colorado.
In Colorado.
I think that's just a Colorado law.
No, I think that's...
Maybe they do it somewhere else. But I know Colorado specifically, like when they legalized gambling or betting, they made it so you couldn't bet player props in college.
It's very weird. But also, like,
Yeah.
college kids need money. So it would be very easy for them to, like, throw games. Pro
Yeah.
players don't need to be, like, betting their money.
This is a great off-season
It
topic
is.
that we're going to get deep into.
Anyways, when they set, like, tackle lines in the NFL, the highest one you'll see in a game is, like, 8.5. Nate Landman just, like, routinely gets, like, 16 to 20 every game.
Yeah.
It's unbelievable. He's so awesome. He has the neck roll. He looks the part. He plays the part. He's the landmine. And again, like, there's just something special about having a badass middle linebacker. And the Buffs have it. And I don't want to ignore Carson Wells because he is equally as badass.
I know.
Maybe not equally.
But so
he's
close.
also extremely badass. And
yeah.
he doesn't get nearly enough love because of Nate Landman. But, it's like a 1-2 punch. Those two together is, again, it just reminds me of great Colorado football.
Yeah. Those are two first-team all Pac-12 linebackers.
Yep.
And if you don't think so, then I would like to sit down with you and punch you in the face.
You want to sit down and punch someone in the face?
I realized I didn't really want to talk to him.
Do you think you could get Ben from here?
So, how about those
I'm
other
elusive
helmet
like a cat.
stickers?
We just wanna
helmet
talk more
stickers.
of Nate Landman.
Helmet
Go ahead,
stickers.
but this time just say that he gets a helmet sticker. Did we say that already? I don't know. Nate Landman gets a helmet sticker. Carson Wells gets a helmet sticker. Whoa, words.
And real quick, too, on that, Carson was actually in the presser, and he talked about how he and Nate Landman are roommates and how they put in a lot of extra work. After workouts, they'll go to a field across from their house and put in more stuff. I mean, it's incredible. Those guys, I think they feed off of each other's energy, and that defense is just playing weirdly with a chip on its shoulder with this form of aggression that I am all here for. It is must-watch TV every week.
And I've talked about this on the podcast quite a bit this week. Was this week the one that started with all the national awards for Nate? It wasn't
Yeah,
it?
oh, yeah.
It's crazy. So since we
back.
last talked live, for those of you who don't listen daily, 2 National Player of the Week awards, obviously Pac-12 Player of the Week, but also throughout the week, I kind of just built, and I had just kind of like angst inside me where it's like Carson Wells deserves more credit than he gets.
Yeah.
And he is being overshadowed by Nate, and in part rightfully, but only like this tiny little amount, and the rest of it is like he deserves so much more praise. This is at least coming into this week of college football, there were 2 players in the entire country who had more pass breakups per game than Carson Wells. And guess what? They weren't linebackers. He also has the pick. He has the sacks. He has the tackles for loss. I can't remember if it's the sacks or the tackle for loss where there's also only 2 players in the country with more per game. He is tearing it up. He is an NFL player, and he's definitely going to be first-team All-Pac-12. And if not, I will lead a riot there.
So we have the landmine for Nate Landman. We
this'll
need
be
something for Carson Wells.
I thought you had something planned. I was
something,
fired up. I was trying to get a step ahead of you.
Hang on. At a bar, Wells are the worst thing you can get. So I'm thinking he's the opposite of that. Carson, top shelf Wells.
Okay. It's a starting point. I'm sure somebody out there has something better, right?
Maybe.
Somebody has.
Drop him in the
Top shelf?
comments.
Just call him top shelf?
Top shelf. We can call it top shelf.
That's kind of a sick nickname.
It is. I could go with top shelf. I'd be happy.
It's no Bones Chisholm, but
Let's not go down that road.
Yeah, let's please not go down
The
that
landmine and top shelf.
I think I could pull off Bones. but it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. But yeah, top shelf, that's good.
People
Again,
are loving it.
Great. Come on.
Top shelf.
Okay, top shelf. It's good.
Top shelf.
I'll give it a 7, an 8.
I'll take it.
So, rest of helmet
yeah.
stickers.
Well, you know what? I'll give out my next one because I think mine is going to be probably the most controversial of it all, and
Yeah,
it's because
defend this.
yeah, you know what? I said it in the middle of the game, and both Ryan and Henry just kind of looked at me because they think they know it's coming.
Yeah.
I love this guy. I love my quarterback, Sam Noyer. He's getting a helmet sticker, and this was definitely his worst showing this season. Those interceptions were tough. That second one was absolutely unexcusable. But his fire and intensity on the field is still so pivotal. He is a leader on this team. And I think that's important because Jarek Broussard's a guy I don't know what he's like in the locker room, but on the podium, he's kind of
Quiet.
soft-spoken. So to have a guy that is in your face and fired up, I love to know that he's on the sideline firing up. Never should yell at your head coach, but I'm happy to see that he's got that intensity. He's willing to say, you know what? Even in a bad play, I'm going to stick by it. He's got that shooter mentality. And, that's not always going to be good because you're going to throw bad picks. But where it comes in with Noyer in particular is that running ability. The 1 third down run he had was called back because of a hold.
Oh, that was best run of the day.
But in the fourth quarter, his second best run of the day, I'll say, is the one where he spins twice to pick up a first down on 3rd and 4, keep the drive moving, and then I'm pretty sure
Game-winning play.
that turned into the Broussard
Definitely.
run, didn't it? Was that on that drive? I can't remember if it was, but either which way, it kept
It
the
might
drive
have been
moving,
the very next play, honestly.
chewed some clock.
Could have been.
He runs with a passion. And as Allie's pulling up too, some of these runs with Noyer, he's not afraid to put his neck down and put his head down for the team.
Put his neck down.
Look
Put
at
his
the
neck down.
design.
Oh, is that what we're doing? You said a word wrong.
Play this a couple times. Look at the design here. Look at these two offensive linemen pull, or maybe it's an offensive lineman and a tight end.
I believe one of them is Lytle on the pull.
This gets me hyped. Oh, so it's a tight end and Lytle. Oh my God, that's a great design.
Perfect segue.
That's called the Cepho
Which
special.
we won't take.
And I just want to. The next play that they run right
We're
here
passing on that.
is the Sam Noyer touchdown, and it's the very same play design. You see Lytle in that tight end
That is
pull
the
again.
same exact play.
He
That's
hits
called the
hole.
Cepho special. They ran that about 400 times with Cepho Lufau.
Also called the Visca special.
They did also, when they didn't have Cepho at their disposal, they just chose the biggest athletic freak that CU's had at their school in like 20 years.
Until now, Sam Noyer.
Sam
Noyer
Noyer.
Safety.
That's the hot
Quarterback.
take. Sam Noyer is more athletic than Laviska Shenault. You want to go there?
Maybe not. Well, we did ignore the perfect segue. But next helmet sticker, Chance Lytle.
And we talked about him.
We did talk about him. And what I'd really like to say right now is that we only do 6 helmet stickers. And so you can't give one to the entire offensive line, but honestly, they all deserve it. Like, they were the reason that Jarek Broussard was able to do everything. They've been so good throughout the season that we kind of picked one guy, and the guy we picked was Chance Lytle. But you take your pick, and there were a lot of really good football players up there up front for the Buffs today, and that is very important to everything this team has done this season, and they deserve credit for it.
Yep. Josh John stepping in at center. Kerry Cooch was out with contact tracing. Kari Cooch. Sorry. Kari Cooch
I know
was
you know
out
this
with-
name. I know you, but
I know
you
the
focus
last
on
name.
something else. Okay.
The last name.
the last name.
Yeah.
So Kari Cooch out with contact tracing. Josh Shine steps in. Then you have Lytle come down. And again, this team just has a next man up mentality about it. They're feisty. They're gritty. They're prepared. You know, they're not just going out there with their eyes closed swinging.
Yeah.
And I think that's super admirable. This offensive line continues to get better and better each week. I think there was some regression in this first half of the Stanford game. But other than that, the unit as a whole is playing cohesively. And today, 407 rushing yards. So incredible, so impressive. You just hope that they can keep up. You know, obviously 400 yards might be a little bit too high of an expectation. But you do hope they can keep putting up outings like this because that's this team's identity. And the moment that this team is unable to run the football and dominate in the trenches, I think is when you would see your first Colorado Buffaloes loss.
It's also probably when you couldn't justify a quarterback going 12 of 19 for 92 yards and 2 interceptions with no touchdowns getting a helmet sticker.
Absolutely.
One more helmet sticker to get to. That's Mekhi Blackman. He was all over the place. Oh, is there one? Did I miss one?
Yep.
Did we? Oh, yeah.
Just go.
I'm excited to see where this is going. Mekhi Blackman, though, he made so many plays defensively. There's been so much hype around him, and it started in fall camp of last year that he was tearing it up, that he was ready to break out. And then he gets hurt and misses, I think, 10 games last year. Comes out this year, maybe a little bit slow, but tonight he really did step up. And did he get the interception too? I can't remember.
No, the interception was to no, Appleton was last week. Now I'm blanking
lost.
on the interception. He did have a pass breakup in the end zone on fourth down.
Nigel Bethel, of course.
Nigel Bethel
there
had
we
the
go.
interception. Yeah, Blackman had the pass breakup in the end zone, and he also had what probably would have been an interception had there not been that incidental contact along the sideline earlier in the game. He was a blanket tonight in coverage. So many plays, obviously some key pass breakups, but also just being in the way, locking down one side of the field, super important because this secondary was a bit of a concern after that UCLA game. So having these positive outings from a guy like Blackman too just really helps assert that confidence on the back end.
Yep.
Do we have a nickname for Mekhi Blackman? I'm trying to do all nicknames for the
Wow.
tweet of our helmet stickers.
Okay.
I was thinking
I thought you were Googling synonyms or something over
Black
there. So.
Blackman Blackmanba. Blackmanba.
Monba. Okay, I'm certain we can do better than this one. Certain that somebody has something better than Black Monba.
Mamba.
Monba.
Oh my
Black
god.
Mamba.
Ugh. And we seriously can't send out the tweet until we think of a better nickname.
Well, I mean, I guess I could just say Mekhi Blackman when everyone else has a name.
What's Chance Lytle's?
I actually don't have that one. yet.
Opera.
I was thinking like opera man.
You gotta play
Music
opera.
Man.
Opera.
The Music Man?
The Music Man. I mean, if we're forcing nicknames in this short of a time frame, I think we have to take it. Guys, help us out with these.
Ryan, while you finish that
we
up,
need
should
one
we-
for Ashad.
Yeah.
I was gonna say the perfect segue into our last helmet sticker. Ashad Clayton. We talked about him a little bit earlier, but 4 carries, 26 yards, 2 touchdowns. He made the most of his opportunities tonight, and he has definitely earned more moving forward.
Why didn't he touch the ball after this play? Actually, he did touch the ball after that play. But he had a second touchdown. He didn't touch the ball after that one.
I mean,
Oh, no, that
tough
was
part
the
is-
second one because it said X2 on the tweet.
oh, nice. Oh, wow, definitely. But, I mean, again, we've said this before, but 4 touches, 2 of them touchdowns. Other one went for 17 yards. I mean, to be fair, he did have like the 1 touch that wasn't all that spectacular, but I'm not going to linger there. I do think that they could have used him more. I don't necessarily know that you want to be putting him in when Jarek, is ready to go, but I've screwed up a second word. Funny alley, huh? Yeah, that one got you.
Why
But-
are you so defensive today?
Well, it's just because
Calm
I feel like I'm getting
down.
picked on. Because as soon as like I said a word wrong, it's just like this back and
I
forth.
thought that was
going to
be my role.
watch
You know,
in front
oh,
of
the
me.
intern's on the show, so now we pick on him, and I come in here. Nope, it's seamlessly to you.
Keep yapping. You're going to be holding this table up for us next week. Any thoughts on Ashad, Ryan?
More.
Yeah,
More.
that's where we are.
Nickname?
I was gonna say keyboard warrior.
Nola, but the O is a 0.
Okay.
Ashad Nola Clayton.
I have a question.
Okay.
How important is a nickname?
Well,
Kind of everything.
To
isn't it?
Ryan, very important.
Because we've
you
got a
don't-
lot left in this show, and we are an hour and 6 minutes in,
You're
and
kidding.
you just will not stop talking about these nicknames.
what's your nickname?
Allie?
Oh, good one.
Al Dog. You get a lot Al Dog.
Yeah, Al Dog happens around here. I just call you Al.
Who cares?
Which is kind of a-
exactly.
Man.
I mean,
name.
several people in the comments have been saying more nicknames, more
Actually,
nicknames.
Really?
0.
Several people?
Several.
Several.
0.
I love hearing about these several people you're always talking
They're
to.
the same several people that can say Colorado should be in over a 1-loss
They're
Clemson.
the exact same people.
You're going to have to introduce me to these people.
I
They
will.
sound like fun people.
Great connections to
Some
have.
wild takes, but some great people.
So the Black Mamba is in.
Sure, go with Black Mamba. Let's just see where it goes. Tweet this out, see what happens. I do know that Shad goes by Shoddy,
Oh.
which isn't really a nickname.
Peter here has one.
Thank goodness.
Capri Bibbs wrote a song.
Ashad the God.
It does rhyme.
Oh.
Ashad
Is
the
that early for that?
See, I've got Maxwell in here saying nope.
He was saying, nope, Allie, your opinion on nicknames is
No,
terrible.
he's saying, do people
Who
actually
told you that, Ryan?
Do
Who's
people
been saying
actually
that?
care about this? Nope.
Listen,
Who's been saying that's what he's saying nope about?
what do you mean? Everyone has been saying that.
Everyone? Everyone's been saying it. Yeah.
Several respected people. have been
Several
saying-
people have said that he was saying nope to you, Allie. Sorry.
Maxie Mac, calm down.
So we have a lot of questions in
Oh.
the comments right
Thank
now.
goodness. Let's get into the questions. Do we do all the?
Yep,
Yeah,
we got 'em.
justified a shot on 4 touches. Yep.
Okay, so this one has been going on recurring in this show is, okay, can we talk about CU having not faced a decent / elite passing offense yet? A lot of people are concerned and worried, especially after seeing the way that they played against Arizona at the very beginning of the game.
I mean, I would consider UCLA to be a decent passing offense, personally. I think when Colorado faced them, they definitely had their struggles. I mean, 4 turnovers in the first half is not going to win you a game, but DTR has improved steadily week over week. And Demetric Felton, right? Demetric's his first name? I mean, he has a case for Pac-12 Player of the Year.
Oh, yeah.
And
If
the
it
only
weren't for
team,
Jarek Broussard, maybe.
well,
Very fair.
The only team that's been able to stop Felton is Colorado. So I think, have they faced a decent elite passing team yet? Maybe not like Alabama, who Mac Jones doesn't, has more touchdowns than incompletions, but they've taken care of business with the people in front of them, and that's really all you can ask of a team because this is the hand that they've been dealt.
Yeah.
And when are they going to see one? I mean,
They're not.
maybe there's that USC game
true.
in theory, but I mean, Davis Mills is one of the better quarterbacks in the Pac-12. Ooh, did he play against the Buffs? Now I'm starting to question
he
that.
did.
Yeah, he did. He was back for that one. But today against Washington's defense, which nobody has voiced any concerns about, 20 for 30, 252, and a touchdown. That's a solid day, and it was in a win. I mean, USC is kind of a different beast when it comes to Pac-12 passing games because they do run like that quasi-air raid type thing, and they have those big athletes outside, and that will be a test if the Buffs do play USC at some point. But as the path stands right now, going through Utah next week, and then playing either Tyler Shuck and Oregon or playing the freshman at Washington, like I'm not too concerned about that being a huge jump up in competition.
I think Shuck would probably be the most X factor because he has shown potential to stretch the field downfield, but he has regressed significantly in the last couple games just as far as turnovers go as well.
Yeah, that's why they call him Tyler Shuck and Pray.
So Eric here says, gonna need a passing game versus Utah. Thoughts on that?
Maybe.
It's possible.
Speaking of UCLA, who the Buffs eviscerated, 17-0 on ASU right now.
Yeah. Also, Oregon State playing Utah right now. 13 carries for 85 yards to this point. Down 6, getting close to halftime. I mean, this Utah team isn't like the last couple. They lost 9 starters on defense. 7 of them got drafted. This is a different team. And how many games they played? This will be their third. And if they hold on, it'll be their first win. I mean, you can't take anything for granted. I still expect Utah to be tougher than Arizona. But at the same time, I don't think there's anybody in the conference that this offensive line isn't going to manhandle.
No, I mean, also, San Diego State might be the Buffs' best rush defense that they've faced, and the San Diego State rush defense might be better than every other conference opponent. I mean, they're up there. That's a good defensive line, and Colorado still took care of business there. So
are we going with Nola with a 0 or Ashad the God?
Not enough time for a Twitter poll.
I think Nola. I think that'd be cool.
Okay.
But
Ashad Nola Clayton.
We'll see if it catches on.
Yeah. Too early for a God tier for me, but
Fair.
Maxwell here asking, where are the Buffs going to be ranked?
I mean, they should be like 15.
They've
but that's
got to
not
be in
gonna
the
happen.
top 20. I'm not kidding. They've got to be in the top 20.
I don't think you can justify it because there were 30 coming into this week. If you extend things, they've got to be top 20. I think that's definitely the right take.
Can you jump from 30 to 19?
Personally, if it's where they should be, I think they should be between 15 and 18. Where are they going to be? Probably 24 because I still don't think national perception is going to give Colorado the benefit of the doubt. And box score readers are going to see Sam Noyer had 94 yards and 2 picks, and they're going to say a top team cannot have a quarterback under 100 yards with that many turnovers. I think national perception is just not going to be bought in on this team just yet.
Are they really going to look at 300 rushing yards
That's
from
a good
Jarek
point.
Broussard? And
Yeah,
then
that's a good point. That's actually
They can't throw the ball. Worth noting that so far today, number 15 has lost, number 21 is lost, 16 is lost, 22 has lost, 13 is lost, 23 has lost.
Let me just ask you this something.
That's it.
Mr. Ben. How many yards do you think Coastal Carolina's quarterback Grayson McCall threw for today as they beat BYU and Zach Wilson?
probably sub 150 since you're asking me.
85.
Really?
His QBR, 42.6. He was 10 of 15 for 85 yards, averaging 5.7 yards per reception. So you can't
That's a fair
I know
point.
where you were going, but you can't put that evil on Sam Noyer just for being really good at handing off the ball.
So
He is talented.
So I mean, we've talked about where we think they should be ranked, but what would be your actual prediction, knowing the AP poll, knowing where it is? Where would you put them at as an AP voter?
I think they come in at 21.
I was
I
going to say
think they
20.
should be at least 19, but I think they come in at 21.
I was going to say 20. It's going to be right there probably. But at the same time, like, you look at Washington was 22 coming into this week.
They lost.
Yeah.
Oregon was number 23 coming into this week.
They won. They lost.
No, they lost. Yeah.
They've lost 2 in a
This
row.
is a fun game. USC came into this week 20.
Yeah.
And I think that if they were right there, the Buffs, with the same number of wins and undefeated as where USC was, should be right there. And I think that they're underrated because USC has not passed the eye test in the way that Colorado has, and that should factor in. So realistically, they should be 14. They should be 15, right in there. I think they're going to get 20, 21.
Yeah, I mean, USC has looked worse against worse opponents than Colorado this year. So the fact that USC is 10 spots higher than Colorado is already a travesty.
It took a
Where
late
was
comeback
Washington?
for them to beat Arizona, right?
21?
They were
Or 22.
22, right? And Oregon was
22.
Yeah. And Oregon
Okay,
was
so at the
22.
very least, the Buffs replace Washington at 22. That's the lowest you can possibly justify.
Now, who's behind them? Is it Tulsa's at 24? Is it Liberty at 25? Or is it the Raging Cajuns at 25?
It is. Wow, you're really putting me to the test, Ben.
Sorry.
It is.
I thought
these
you had
are
it
in
up.
order that the games are played. Oh, it was Louisiana. Raging Cajuns at 25. I don't think 24 played this week. Nope, Tulsa.
Tulsa, yeah. Okay. So, yeah, Colorado's better than all four of those teams. So, yeah,
Yeah.
they should be 22-21.
All right, what else we got, Allie?
Okay, Peter here asking, how much do you think the 4-0 start is helping with recruiting so far? We do have a good amount of questions, so I'm not saying answer rapid fire, but let's not go on the longest tangents ever, please.
The weird thing is I don't have plans until
like where this is
9:30
going.
a.m. tomorrow morning.
What's your plan?
The tailgate.
To be right there.
Yeah.
I know, I'm going to be there too.
How much do you think this undefeated
good
start is
question.
going to help with recruiting?
It's like
I
an-
was actually going to put this in my biggest takeaways. Because you can talk COVID this, COVID that, shortened season this, shortened season that. It doesn't matter when it comes to recruiting. When you, as Carl Durrell, can walk into a living room and say, look, I took this team that hasn't had has had only one winning season since 2005. And in my first year, I had a winning season. I clinched bowl eligibility. We started 4-0. Potentially, we went to the Pac12 Championship game. All of that stuff, when you're saying, look, man, we're building something special here, that stuff plays. And I've always talked about during the Tad Boyle era that he walked into an incredible situation because Jeff Bzdelic left for the Wake Forest job, which he got a big pay raise and all that. And he left Tad Boyle with a very good roster and Alec Burks, who, of course, was a lottery pick.
Who I drafted my fantasy basketball draft.
Oh.
I have him, Derek White, and Spencer Dinwiddie.
Good job. So Tad Boyle walked into a good situation, and he took it and he ran with it. And in his first year, the Buffs had an incredible season. They should have been they got one of the worst NCAA tournament snubs anyone's ever seen.
Who's saying that?
No, like actually everyone is saying
Several people?
that. Not even several. Everyone says that.
Okay.
Like
everyone.
I could probably get Justin Michael to agree to that.
Wow.
Yeah. So
He's everyone.
I'm not like that's sometimes I exaggerate. This is not an exaggeration.
Okay, bud.
And what happened was he was able to take that and recruit. And then, he brings in Spencer Dinwiddie. And he brings in Askia Booker. And he brings in Josh Scott. And all of these players who change the program and take it from a middling Big 12 program to a top half Pac-12 program every single year. And I really think that Carl Durrell can follow the Tad Boyle model. And I said that when he was hired. I said, this could be a kind of Tad Boyle-like hire. And so you take your first year where Mel Tucker left him in a good position. Mel Tucker left the program better than when he took it.
Bad timing. There was some tough circumstances trying to get all that stuff worked out.
Certainly.
Coaching staff, that kind of thing. But yeah.
He recruited good players. He had the team playing better football, especially by the end of that season.
Yep.
And so Carl Durrell came into not a terrible situation. He came into a better situation than John Embry came into. He came into a better situation than Mike McIntyre came into. And he came into a better situation than Mel Tucker came into, probably. And so he can use the Tad Boyle model. You go out and you win your first year. He's already taken care of that. Yep. Winning season, guaranteed. Stamp it. It's done. And if you can take that, bring that on the recruiting trail, and turn that into players, you're off to the races. So this, forget about fans and anything else like that in the stands. This can be a transformative year for the program.
Loser can't say words.
I mean, what are the things that matter? what are the things that matter to recruits? What does the team branding look like? Colorado already has
The best
uniforms in the country, the best color scheme in the country. What do they care about too? What's the college town like?
Oh,
the
best.
Yeah, I mean, Bill McCartney talked about
Several people. Actually, though. Several publications.
No, but actually.
I mean, Bill McCartney used to talk about he would just get players. If you just get them to Boulder, you just show them Boulder, they'll want to play there, So you add in those factors to a winning program and what you're building. I mean, it can't not help recruiting.
Agreed. It is a big help for recruiting.
Now you got to go convert it, though. Doesn't happen automatically.
True. Next question.
I just lost it. Hold on.
Wow.
We're going to be here all night.
I have things to do all night. As I've been saying.
I never said I had things to do, but sometimes people don't enjoy listening
you talking
to
or scrolling?
3-hour podcasts.
I don't know. I've heard several people say different.
Eric here saying, let's talk about our passing game. Can Noyer handle it?
Yep, we've seen it before.
He's got to get better.
Yep.
He's going to have to make smarter decisions. He had like a little bit of an invincibility complex tonight, I thought, where he just thought like if I throw it hard enough, it can't be intercepted. And that was very much proven not to be the case. The first interception was an incredible play.
Catch, yeah.
But he's just got to be better. I love the fact that they finally took some vertical shots tonight.
The one to KD was beautiful. The ball.
KD messed that one up.
Katie tweeted, actually, don't worry, I will not sleep for months because of that one or something like that.
I was worried.
Yeah, we were worried. We were worried he was going to get sleep.
I think that was when I tweeted, weekly reminder, college receivers drop balls. So.
And I told you, all receivers drop balls.
Yes, you did. Eagles fan there.
We see it with the Broncos, too.
Yeah.
Denver's seen it lately a lot, too.
Yeah, Sam Noyer has thrown the ball well before for long stretches. I mean, we weren't talking about this all that much last week, though he did miss a couple of throws last week.
I'll be honest, though, if the Buffs get in a situation where they have to throw to win, I won't feel great about it. I'm not saying that he can't do it, but I would much rather them be in a position where they can run the ball to win rather than having to pass the ball. And I thought we were going to see it tonight because it was trending towards that, and then they just ran the ball so well that it didn't matter.
I think it's important to remember that in week 1, Brady Russell was his leading receiver.
Yep.
He was an animal, and we still don't know if he's going to be back at some point this year. Hopefully he's going to be back soon, but losing that threat is huge because as much as you have a lot of very good receivers that you want to get on the field and you want to give them opportunities, you don't want to be tipping your hand every time you throw the football that's what you're going to be doing. And that's the luxury that Brady Russell afforded, and that's why I love the tight end position so much. And so losing him, that is what does give me just a little bit of doubt about this passing game. Can it withstand not having him? I do think that means you're going to see more 4-receiver sets out there. And if the time comes where they do need to make plays late, lob a ball up to Brendan Rice. Lob a ball up to Levante Chenault.
Also, just more
Their
Dimitri
options.
Stanley in general.
Yeah, he was pretty quiet again today.
I think Noyer just needs to get in a rhythm more. I think he needs to have some more rhythm passes. That the play to start the game was great. Having a touch pass, let him be 1-for-1 for 9-10 yards. Obviously I do think he has steadily declined a bit since that opener. And whether that is because of Brady Russell or there's more film on tape about what Noyer's doing, I think it's a combination of both.
Definitely.
But I think the other important thing to remember is this is Noyer's 4th start. So he's going to have ups and downs, but he's doing enough for them to win. I agree, Ryan. If they have to be in a situation to pass, you're not going to feel as great about it. But at the same time, I'm not sure that I feel worse about it than I did with Steven Montez.
No.
So I think that also should be considered, as I do think that's an upgrade, and his running ability adds another dimension in late game situations like that.
And he just has it.
Yep.
So you feel good about, if he has to dig deep and find something, you feel like he can find it.
Yep, absolutely.
Okay, I feel like I know your answers to this question, but let's just make it yes or no, because want to get to Jim's question. But he said, with Sam's stat line, do we need to make a change at QB?
No.
I think Sam makes plays and we keep him, but would not be surprised if there is a change at QB.
Nope.
No.
Nope.
No
You
change.
don't. You don't change anything when you're undefeated.
Nope.
Okay.
If it ain't broke, don't fix it.
Peter here saying, do we know the Buffs Bowl possibilities?
Well, today really helped.
Sure did.
Because the Pac-12 is bleeding out bowl opportunities every week. But, at this point, I guess the worst record the Buffs can have is 4-1, isn't it?
Yes.
Because
They're
4-2.
Right.
Oh, yeah. If they lose, don't go
Even
Pac-12
then.
title 4-2. Yep.
Even then, at 4-2, they're going to be in position to get one of the. How many bowls are left?
So what
5.
happened was,
Yeah.
it went down to 4 earlier this week with the cancellation, but then they signed a new deal for a new bowl for this year where they get to play an SEC team, which will be a lot of fun, in my opinion. So now, oh, come on. Toughen up. This is such a Buff fan reaction. My goodness.
Oh,
SEC, get me out of here. We can't handle the SEC. Come on.
I would just rather play like the Mountain West.
I don't know
Oh
what
my
you're talking about.
God.
Buffs fans were calling for Alabama
Well, I
in
mean,
2016.
Several of them.
Several
No, that
people
was
have said-
actually Buffs
Yeah,
fans were
actually.
calling
Buffs
for
actually.
Alabama in 2016.
Several, actually.
No, I mean, what SEC team are we talking about here?
I mean, probably whoever's 4th or 5th. I mean, it's not going to be Bama.
Yeah,
Well, I
but
know
also
that.
4th or 5th. So you've got Bama, Florida, A&M. I mean,
Okay, none of those.
Georgia
Right.
doesn't scare me.
Georgia
Guys, you got to toughen up. Come on here. This is
who
what I
would
talk about when
willingly
I
wanna play
like. I
Georgia?
don't mean to attack Buffs fans because they're the reason I have my job. But this is the kind of stuff where it's like, okay, we've gotten over some of these humps, and like you don't have to bring up the 0-11 in bowl games, and then you say something. It's like, knock on wood. You gotta. Okay. Now we're to this point where they've done all this. They can go beat these SEC teams. The SEC is not good.
Henry,
like-
have you met sports fans in general?
I don't. This is not a.
Because
you got to meet
Bron-
Montana football fans. Is all I'm saying.
Broncos fans, everything.
Well, yeah,
That's just the way
Montana football.
people
Montana
are.
doesn't have to play anyone ever.
Okay, well,
Think-
my
okay,
first
but-
college game was taking down Carson Wentz and NDSU in the first loss that he had ever had,
Okay.
and everybody was
Congratulations on
hyped
beating
beforehand.
another team that never has to play
Yeah.
anyone.
I think the problem with the SEC is it's very top heavy. I'd be fine if we played Vanderbilt.
Yeah,
I could
let's
do
go.
that, but I
like
think
Mississippi State.
for Buffs fans,
Ole
I think
Miss.
no, not Mississippi State because
Well,
Mike
we
Leach
haven't
has our
done well
number.
against Mike Leach.
Yeah.
Anyways, the point is, I don't care who we play.
That's the point.
Whoa,
Whoa, no. SEC, no, we don't.
We have
listen.
Seth here asking, what bowl does Montana go to?
Montana doesn't go to bowls because they have real football there, and what happens is there's
Now
playoffs
you've
to
got
decide
him
a
all
champion.
defensive.
You get all of the best teams, the 24 best teams, and say, you know what?
we should have a playoff.
Yeah, and you
no
get
one
to
disagrees
host
with this.
the
Yeah.
games. You get to have home
Okay,
playoff
okay.
games.
Next question.
You guys wouldn't
Anyways,
believe it.
I just want to say, I don't care who we play. I'm just happy that we're going to a bowl. I would just prefer to not play Georgia.
Okay.
Come on.
So Peter
Do you
here.
have seen the size of those guys?
Have you seen Jarek Broussard?
I
Give him the
have.
5 foot,
opportunity.
yeah, Jarek Broussard has 300 yards. He's also 5'8".
Yeah.
I don't want him running into a Georgia front four.
Yeah, I'm marking this down. Doubting Jarek Broussard.
I'm not doubting Jarek
Yes, you
Broussard.
just did. You
I'm
just
putting
did.
confidence in an SEC
My
defense.
goodness, Henry. Okay, Peter.
SEC defense. Have you seen? Come on. These phrases, these
There was
buzzwords.
something in
It's
his
not even true.
There was something in his cold brew tonight.
Literally. he's
3 shots of
admitted.
espresso.
Okay.
Sesso.
I knew it. I was just waiting. Okay, Allie, please talk.
I'm trying.
I like
you
you fired up.
I
interrupted
appreciate
me.
Fired up.
You're
Hank has me
literally the
fired
one.
up.
Okay.
I want Bama.
All right. Peter here is asking,
too.
I saw someone on Twitter say our DB coach tells the DBs not to turn around on throws. What are your thoughts on that?
We
So
gotta stop this.
that story is about Demetrius Martin. He was actually Arizona's
Yes.
That's
where this came
defensive stat. And so it's a thing among Arizona Twitter people where it's like, oh, he needs to teach you to turn around. He doesn't do that. And I'm not sure there's anything actually to them not turning around. But it is a thing that you'd like to see.
Okay.
Again, it's like the drops thing, though. This is all over college football. Like, this is just
Yes.
what happens with
Thank
college defensive backs, is that is a very difficult thing to do. And, I would love to see them do it more. Mekhi Blackman would have had a pick if he had.
He should have had 2 picks tonight.
Okay.
Yeah.
So next
Still got a
question
helmet sticker.
is, at this point, what number is KD in this receivers core?
We did this on the DNVR Buffs podcast earlier in the week.
we had him at 3.
He's
Or 2.
still at 3.
Behind Dimitri Stanley. Did we put anybody else in front of him?
No,
Did-
you're right. He was at 2.
Levante might have been in front. I
No,
think
he was. It was Levante too.
Was
I would agree with that. I think it's Dimitri, Levante, and then KD. And then after that, Brendan Rice, I assume, is who you had after him.
I
And
think
then
so, yeah.
I mean, the one catch that I remember from him, I guess there was the screen early on where he didn't have a chance. Well, actually, he did have a chance. It just didn't look like he had a chance. The refs just blew the play dead too soon because his knee didn't touch the ground and he was running. But then there was also like that nice out route. Nobody put up big numbers receivers wise. But what I will say is that if he just would have caught that one ball deep downfield where he did everything right except for maybe he should have run just a little bit more. But he still was able to get it in his hands. He just needs to hold on to that. And if he does hold on to that, then all of a sudden he is number 2, number 1, might pass Dimitri Stanley because he didn't do anything. I don't know. It's tough.
He's very talented. I still don't think this offense is doing the best job of getting him the ball in the right situations.
I don't know how much money it would take to have KD Nixon run a drag route, but I'm getting ready to pay it because that's.
I'm not saying one. I'm saying on every play for the entire game.
Just like some of them right up the line of scrimmage, some of them at a bit of an angle. Just have that little bit of variation.
Over route once in a while.
Basically, yeah, exactly. Like all of his routes, if you just had like this 20 degrees of separation of what he does, you'd be just fine.
Yeah, I mean, this team has the weapons, definitely. I just would like to see them get a little bit more creative in the play calling for them. But with that being said, I think, they used Arias today a little bit differently on, I don't know what route it was. It was kind of like a fade streak. It was on a 3rd and short, and he was lined up on the outside. It wasn't a ball that was just a streak or a post, deep down the field. So they're getting a little bit more creative in that way. But I think Levante Chenault, the reason why I'm so high on him is because he's making the most of those opportunities. Today's fumble, absolutely unexcusable, but he's still being able to, get and make his impact on the game.
He had a drop today too, I think.
Did he?
Worth noting. Those were the only 2 drops though, right?
Arias?
No,
Chenault.
Levante.
He did.
He did have a drop, man.
Yeah. So, I mean,
and a fumble.
There's room for anybody to take this over at this point.
From Matt, can you discuss how Mark Perry is struggling at safety and how he seemed to thrive at the Star?
Yeah, I mean, struggle at safety. There was the one play that kind of got behind him. He got called for the pass interference as well. KJ Trujillo would have gotten called for that pass interference if Mark Perry hadn't done anything. And to be honest, that was a fluky play. That's definitely a play that happens when you aren't looking at where the ball is. Again, tough thing for college defensive backs to do. But it was so weird because the quarterback got hit and it was just this moon ball that dropped down. I'm not worried about Mark Perry because at the same time, safety's job in the name. Be the safe option, and they're not safe option. The guy who makes the plays if nobody else does, and he did that on at least one running play that I can think of. It was like right up the middle toward the end. He needs to get better. He's a sophomore. I'm not worried.
I will say, sometimes a player has to switch positions, not because it's the best position for them, but because they're the best option at that position for the team, and. If you think of this from like a Madden perspective, just because this is the easiest way for me to put it, you have an opportunity. So a player might be like an 85 at nickel, but they're a 78 at safety, and you also have a 78 at nickel that you can put in there. But if you put them at nickel, you only have a 64 at safety. So you have to try and mix to get the best, overall group there. And I think that might be at play here for Mark Perry. They think he's the best option there, even though that might be not be the best option for him.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, who's behind him on the depth chart? Isn't it KJ Trujillo?
KJ Trujillo was who stepped in today. I mean, Isaiah Lewis is the first backup to everybody. Who else? Nigel Bethel isn't listed there anymore, I don't think. Yeah. There's got to be one more safety listed.
Darian.
Oh, right. But he's the other starter.
So I think the thing exactly. Yeah. What's the alternative too? And I'm obviously going to be missing some plays, but right now talking about him, I don't think I can remember a time where Mark Perry cost the team a touchdown or made a super significant play multiple times. Obviously, the defensive pass interference today that was called on like the 2-yard line. That's not good. You don't want that from your guy. But KJ Trujillo would have been called for that as well. So
didn't they stop them there too?
Yeah, they did. Did they?
They did.
That was the interception, wasn't it?
Yes, it was. Yeah. So, good play, in my opinion.
It worked out in the end.
Yeah. Mark Perry needs to get better. It'd be nice if everybody got better.
Yeah.
Any more questions, Allie?
Francis here is saying Allie needs a mute button like around the horn. I actually do have a mute button, but I just they don't know when they're muted.
We'll just keep talking.
Yeah. So it wouldn't
I'll just
work
talk louder so it picks up on Henry's microphone.
No.
That'd be a fun game
I would
to
just
play.
mute all of you.
That would be good content.
Okay. I will answer.
You'd have to leave our own comments in the chat.
Your question. Okay, he really wants this question answered.
What do you think about Zachariah Harris's Kentucky Straight Bourbon Whiskey? Haven't had it.
Oh, that's disappointing.
Send it on over.
There's the answer. I'm not a whiskey person.
My old man is a big bourbon guy. So you can add him to that mailing list as well. He'll give you his thoughts on it. But I'm not the. I mean, I'll drink it if I cut it with Dr. Pepper. But
So we have like a bar over here in the DNVR studio, and there were 5 bottles of whiskey. Now there's just one. So
And let that be known that that's been like almost a year now, months.
it has been like 6 to 8 months.
It's been like 8 months.
And there's been a lot of wins from several Colorado teams.
That
And
is
in
not
the
true.
time.
all Ryan
That is true.
drinking.
But,
Yeah,
I mean,
there's
But
like
we
one or
also
two
have
other
lost
people
a bunch
have
of
had a
tequila.
glass.
Guy got into it at one point.
We've also lost a bunch of tequila, and that's been from everyone.
That's us.
I didn't read your question because I didn't want them to get off topic. So that is why I'm waiting until the very end.
So let's have a full-scale conversation about basketball now.
Oh,
Ooh, full scale.
Yeah.
Wow, I'm excited.
wait, this is a good question, and then something else regarding this as well.
Oh, so
Did
then a
tonight
bad question.
lock Carl Durrell for Pac-12 Coach of the Year, National Coach of the Year?
I think I think this was probably the lock for Pac-12 Coach of the Year. I think that whatever happens from here on out, he's probably got it. In terms of National Coach of the Year,
That'll help with recruiting too.
I think you also
Not going to win national coach of the
no,
year.
won't be national.
It's going to that Coastal Carolina coach.
Oh,
Well, I think he's up there. I
Yeah.
think Indiana's coach is up there. Luke Fickle at Cincinnati also up there.
yeah.
There's a lot of candidates
there's a
that
lot
have
of
played
candidates.
more games,
Yeah.
unfortunately.
Yeah, I'll be interested to see how much that winds up factoring into all the awards, because I wouldn't be surprised if it isn't quite as big. We'll see how things go, but I think that if he wins a Pac-12 title, he's certainly in the discussion. Should say already has a Pac-12 Coach of the Year 2005.
That's pretty awesome.
Yeah,
Never once has he not taken a team to a bowl.
yeah. Seems like somebody should have given him another job, huh?
Someone did.
Someone did. Eventually, someone did. Do we have more questions, Allie?
We do, but this was asked a long time ago. You guys talk a lot, so I'm trying to find it.
So much shade. It
yeah,
makes
I
me
know.
feel bad.
Someone said, is Ryan going to talk about the whiskey? It actually was really good.
Oh, no.
Really?
Someone asked, how many Buff shirts does Ryan have?
Fantastic question. Behind the scenes story. I had a girlfriend who like really liked wearing my Buff shirts. And she walked away with probably like
Yeah, I was going to
15
say
of
this
them.
is not me.
No,
I
it
was
wasn't.
wondering if this
own.
was going to be a cute thing or not.
No, I
it
have
was an
all
ex.
of my
Not-
very own.
It was an ex.
Not cute at all.
And when we broke up, she ended up with like 15 of my Buff shirts.
Did you get him back?
No.
I think you can I think technically small claims court will
Oh, yes.
handle that sort of thing.
I'm not in.
not after a couple months. I know from experience as well
Yeah,
in that
the
arena.
statute of limitations has run out.
After a little bit, your jerseys become her jerseys.
Yeah,
no
so-
matter where the relationship
Anyway.
is
Someday
at.
I may learn about women as well.
My Joel Klatt jersey, RIP.
Oh,
Wow.
Yeah, there were some.
Okay, back to the question.
So-
How
well, I'm
many
just
shirts
saying.
do you have now?
Taking those away now, I probably only have 30.
Wow.
I would say that's true.
About 30.
That's a lot of shirts.
We also,
I don't even think I own 30 shirts.
I think I have probably around 15 to 20. I have more crew necks.
Yeah, Allie is absolutely destroying the Buffs crew neck game.
See,
Like,
we just
crew
go
necks are
and
how
try
it
and find
works.
these vintage cool shirts as much as we possibly can.
the thing is, like, it's a non-starter for me. Like, if I see a cool Buff shirt, it's like I can't not buy it.
Also, for Ryan, the weirder and
let me look at this
uglier the buff shirt.
There's
I like
nothing
that one.
ugly about this.
No, you have one that has like demon eyes on the Ralphie, and it's creepy as hell. The weirder they are, that's what Ryan wants. Anyways, the question that I was looking for is, how will the shortened season impact Landman and Broussard for national awards?
We'll see. I think in terms of winning the butt kiss, it's not Walter Payton. What's the running back award?
Oh God! Wow, you put me on the spot like that.
It's time to learn it, though.
Yeah,
It's definitely time to learn it.
The Heisman is really the one that we should be talking about for Jarek Broussard.
Probably.
But
My thought is actually winning the awards, it's going to be tough. And I don't think you're going to do that. In terms of getting onto the All-American team, I think Nate Landman probably does get first-team All-American.
wow.
Yeah,
Doak
I think he
Walker.
does. Doak Walker. Yep. Jarek Broussard. I think he does wind up on one of the All-American teams, but I don't think it's first team, second team, just because they're players.
There's a ton of amazing players in college
Yeah.
football. I actually don't think Nate will get first team
Really?
All-American.
I don't either.
I don't believe in them giving respect to Colorado until I see it.
I think for
Interesting.
Colorado players, I think the focus needs to be on conference awards, because I think when you're judging people on the same amount of games and in that same spectrum is when you're actually gonna be able to get them the respect they deserve. So Jarek, Nate Landman being first team all conference, I think that's absolutely reasonable and should be an expectation at this point. But as far as the national perspective goes, this is where that shortened season really hurts, and just the total end of season stats are just not going to be there.
We'll see how it plays out. Because like I said before, I'm not sure. I put together my All-American ballot stuff, and I didn't. I included a lot of players who played shortened seasons, and I'm not sure if that's being part of the norm or not. I think in terms of the big awards, you're not going to have much of a chance. But I think getting one of the 3 linebacker spots, I think that you can do that.
Well, Rick George has a lot of contacts around
Very
college
true.
football, so maybe he can kiss some butt to help Nate get the butt kiss.
Okay.
Wow.
Speaking of
Thank
that
you, Allie.
terrible
Thank you, Allie.
pun, we actually have someone asking about a nickname,
Oh, let's go.
Chef Noyer.
saying, "Can we confirm Coach's nickname as Hot Carl?"
Hot Carl. Do either of you understand that reference?
Hot Carl. I don't.
I don't either.
That's
Oh, I thought you didn't get it either.
Oh, no, I get
thought
it.
we were lost.
Oh, you
Who's
do?
Hot Carl?
Hot
No,
Carl is
it's
a rapper.
You're
Really?
the youngins.
Carl.
That's why you don't get it.
Yeah, you guys are youngins.
You're like a year older than me.
So
Allie.
Hot Carl.
2 years older, actually.
Okay, like depending
Is that
on
really it?
what time
Wow.
of year it is. I know. You're
I
basically
definitely
dating
act.
me.
Sometimes it feels like that.
You're basically
That
dating
is
me, Ryan.
not-
How crazy is that?
There's nothing like that.
It kind of is though.
There's
She's
no-
only 2 years older than me.
Yeah, Henry, but maturity levels? Come on now.
Well, I mean, does that really?
You just
it
got a
doesn't
bed
really
frame
play
for
with
the
it.
first time, and you literally just got a Swiffer the other day, and I had to remind you to get some bed sheets and towels
Damn,
and
you
all that
walked
type of
yourself
stuff.
into this.
And
one.
I did get new sheets, and guess what? They were
People
expensive,
ask
like an adult
what you're
would use.
eating for
What's the thread
dinner
count?
because you eat Lunchables
I went
all
with the
time.
biggest. Is thread count big is better, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Is it?
It was the biggest option.
I'm using the same comforter I had on my small twin in my first college dorm.
Anyways,
Weighted blanket.
what was the question again?
Expensive.
Hot Carl.
Oh, okay. Hot Carl. So NBA Live 2003.
I was
Check
alive.
out the soundtrack. Hot Carl dropped an absolute heater on that. It's called Blow.
Blow. How do you spell blow? B-L-O-W.
B-L-A-O.
BL.
You're
what?
kidding.
B-L-A-O.
What a terrible way to. I mean, nobody's gonna guess that. Like if somebody's, I guess nobody Googled anything back then either, did they? It didn't matter if you could hear the song and be like, "Blow." Type that in somewhere.
Yeah. Check it out.
Huh.
Hot Carl. NBA Live 2003.
Joe here saying, incredible to watch baby Hank grow up before our eyes. It's true.
It's true.
You're
Yeah.
really growing up.
It's the beer.
Someone else said you
It's all-
having this
it's-
argument with me exactly proves the maturity level.
Oh,
Well, I don't think it
Difference.
does.
Oh, cross hands.
Yeah, I don't think it does.
Anyways, Brent here saying Jarek is featured in Bleacher Report's winners and losers from Week 14 of college football. Number 13 of 14.
Safe to say he was on the winners list.
I don't know how he's 13. I mean, how many other backs
Seriously.
ran for 300 yards?
Did that
this
Jarrett
week?
Patterson put up another 8
No,
touchdown
they didn't
game?
play. Buffalo was driving to their game in Ohio, which is
right.
like so Mac that they were driving to the game.
Drive everywhere in Ohio.
Yeah, and they were told they were on the highway, and they just got a call that was like turn around and go home. So that's life in college football 2020.
2.5 hours in.
Yep,
That means 5 hours on a bus for not playing a game with football players.
yep.
Peter here saying, I remember every episode Hank would tell us his dinner was 7-Eleven pizza and Red Bull.
You want to no free advertising, but this is a 7-Eleven branded cold
No free
brew
advertising.
with 3 shots of espresso. Oh, okay, then I'll say it was horrible.
It's espresso.
What did I say?
Espresso.
I would never. I promise you, not once in my life have I said that word that you just said, but
I
I'm
say
not going to say it.
espresso, but
Well, that just makes you wrong.
Espresso
I know,
is
I
like
know
when
it's
you
wrong,
get it
but
super
it's-
You're
fast.
just okay with that?
it's just what I say.
Allie is often just okay with being wrong.
Okay. All right. Here's Ryan. Your ability to talk about music has been revoked after saying anything remotely positive
Bruh.
about that song.
Oh, you hit him with a bruh.
Come on. Blau absolutely slaps, and I will not hear any cases to the contrary.
I will listen as somebody who's impartial and tell you guys who wins.
I got it.
There's a
queued up.
line there where he's like, I'm Michael Bibby with a little dash
Oh,
of Steve
goodness.
Nash.
Are we allowed to rap on this show?
If you wanted
We
to.
are now.
Wow.
Henry, you do realize that
I'm excited
this
for
is
next week.
technically your show.
I know. I get to do whatever I want. This is a rap show starting next week. No speaking. Allie, I need you to get some beats together. Producer. That's your
Turn,
job.
This is a segment for the tailgate, clearly.
It's like Blau.
Please stop.
Do we have to whisper
I
rap?
will- I
New
will-
rule. New rule. If we're
And he
rapping,
is
we aren't whisper rapping.
Muted.
Have you ever rapped, but not like this? Oh, you actually muted him? Oh, that's incredible. I wish there was a way to see it.
I know. Now he's unmuted.
Questions?
That is it.
Oh, I was going to say, Allie,
actually.
you got us off track that time. So.
Allie, come on. You have
Well,
some
yeah,
questions.
because we're at the very end, and people are just asking.
End is subjective.
The Buffs are 4-0. Ryan can do whatever he wants. Actually,
Let's-
Just throw a question mark on it. Let's debate. I think yes, he can.
Question mark.
I'm taking this to heart all week.
I'm going to change my answer just to make sure we have somebody on the other side. No, he cannot. Ben.
Oh, absolutely you can.
Let's go!
Ryan unhinged.
I can do whatever I want.
oh
Until the
my God,
Buffs lose.
Peter. Peter said live Flabongo if we go 4-0. We
If
don't
someone
have a
we are
Flabongo.
our Flabongos.
In
So we
Arizona.
uncovered. I went on free ball on this week. We uncovered that in just like 3 or 4 years, we've already gone through more Flabongos than the Buffs have gone through Ralphie's. We're already on Flabongo 6.
Wow.
Is
I
it-
really like that that's how you do it, though. Flabongo 6. Does it have like its own name from before?
Right? Yeah, you've got.
I like the before names with the Ralphies.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Is it the Flabongo in Arizona with Murray, or is it here? Did he leave it
There
for
is.
Ziskin?
There's no Flabongo right now. We're
Yeah.
I bet.
we're currently there's Flabongos in training.
All right.
They're being
Okay.
groomed.
Joe here is asking, will you give Buffs TD shots at the DNVR bar similar to the Avs goal shots?
Obviously.
Well,
I
the
think-
bar is closed.
Well, I mean, just he's talking about
in the future?
in the future.
In happier times?
Yes.
Can't get much happier than 4-0.
Yeah, but like the bar could be packed with
Oh,
Buff
4-0
fans, and
with
we could
Imagine
not
if
be
we
in the
were
middle of
just
a
downstairs
pandemic.
doing Flabongos
That's what's
right
supposed
now.
to be happening right now. Is that we're supposed to be packed and singing the song that I still need to learn. But yeah, I think that so Dre's in this weird fantasy football league where it's point per rushing attempt, shot per rushing attempt.
My God.
Nice. No, we will do TD shots for sure.
I think the way we do for Broncos game is first TD shot and then if they win the game. Because we really got in trouble when the Avs scored
The goal
7
shots.
goals and we ran out of shot glasses and also had served 7 shots to multiple people. So I think the way the Broncos goes is first touchdown and then if they win the game, then there's 2
We'll do some-
victory shots.
Do some similar stuff for Buffs basketball too when that gets back.
Yeah.
Hopefully, maybe around tournament time.
Ooh. We'll talk it over because I
Okay.
think we can do better than 2 shots.
We have more questions. What kind of rotation at running back next year with the depth end with all these guys returning?
I mean, odds are you're going to see a transfer. And I think that's where you start because right now there are probably 4 guys who think that they deserve starting jobs. And I honestly can't say that any of them are wrong. You have Alex Fontenot, who people forget, second leading returning rusher in the Pac-12 this year. He was supposed to, like, he was on the preseason all Pac-12 lists. So you have him coming back. You think he would be the perfect pairing for Jarek Broussard. They're both such great zone runners. Like, that's what this team does. From there, obviously, Ashad, you'd want an expanded role for him. There's an odd man out, and we don't have to decide. Jokes? You got a joke for me, Ryan?
No, I'm reading the lyrics to Blau by Hot Carl. There's a line that says, "I'm a white Ben Wallace without a yoga bod."
A white Ben Wallace, is that you? Huh.
That's heat.
Those are bars.
I'm going to be on Rap Genius tonight trying to figure that out.
Okay, Matt's asking word on Purcell's injury. We need him back.
Ooh. Oh. I don't think we have too much of an update.
Must be college sports.
Oh, it must be. So I would expect that he'll be back soon. I mean, this is only based on the tone of the words that have been said, not about the words themselves. I mean, I think what we know is that we knew it would be like multiple weeks and that he's, working his way back and that kind of stuff. But I think that there's a chance he's back next week.
Any word on Lloyd Murray Jr.'s injury?
Not that I know of.
Cool.
There's no words on any injuries, if we're being completely honest.
It's true.
Unless they're season ending. Then they sometimes tell us.
Okay.
Buffs are 4-0 with my Neumeier Ashad Clayton jersey.
That is definitely big today.
Yeah, don't mess around with that. I've been wearing the same socks every game.
Really?
You wash them in between?
Intentionally?
Leave it. I'm leaving that up to your imagination.
Oh my
I'm glad you did that. I needed something to think about tonight. What else did I say I needed to think about tonight?
Blow by Hot Carl.
No, it was not that. It's how I keep getting zapped by everything.
Oh, Henry
literally uncanny.
Henry has been getting shocked at an alarming rate.
Oh, because what happens? It happens like 4 times every Saturday because. Don't need to get into all the details, but I had to plug my laptop into the TV. But when I touch my laptop, it zaps me. And it hurts, and it's loud. And every time, I guess this isn't going to make for good content.
So
but what happens is I reach out,
for everyone listening
touch,
to
and it's
this right now.
I jump. And I look at everybody in the room, and I look at Ryan, and it's like, did you hear that? Did you hear that? And then Allie, did you hear that? And every time it's like, yeah. But it happens at home, too. It's not just when I touch my computer. I can't go anywhere without getting zapped when I touch.
It's crazy.
Stuff.
Henry is like a ball of static electricity.
He's like a dog who thinks he hears a knock at the door every time he's shocked. It's like
he really does freeze.
Car ride? Yeah. Outside?
I jump and I freeze. It's what happens. So if anybody has any tips to not get electric shocks whenever I touch anything, please.
Maybe like rubber socks.
Rubber socks.
Rubber underpants?
Can we beat rubber socks? We're playing the nickname game again. Can we beat rubber socks?
Rubber socks, Chisholm.
No. Bones was
Bones.
I see, and now here I am, like I'm trying to work my way up to Bones, and then this gets thrown at me. Nobody who ever gets called rubber socks Chisholm, guess what? Said a word wrong. Let's go off on that again.
Robert socks.
Yeah, Robert socks. Yeah, you don't go from rubber socks Chisholm ever to Bones Chisholm. And so that's what you guys just did to me.
Franco says we're going to need Hank shock updates regularly.
You should tweet. You should start a thread. Just got shocked. And then just do it over and over and over.
Dude, how many times did I do it today? And every time I did the exact same thing. It was like, well, that was a weird reaction. You don't need to stare down everybody in the room every time you get... Okay. Any more questions, Allie?
My
Lloyd
crossover's dope. Leave your ankles at home. So follow the...
Hey.
Oh, sorry. I said that wrong.
Nope. Muted. Okay, we have Buffs here saying, Buffs writers saying, Lloyd said he's hopeful to be back for a bowl game.
Nice.
Peter's asking, do we know why Keith Miller did not travel?
No. I mean, if I had to guess, I would say it's just because there are so many receivers. I mean... they do 3 per position, I think, at all the receiver spots except for one. They include him, and he's number 4. Or no, maybe that's Montana Lamonious Craig. One of them. But do you carry 10 receivers typically? I'm not sure. It would surprise me a little.
Yeah, I have a take on this. It's official.
Muted. Early thoughts on Utah. Give him quick. Henry's gonna be doing a podcast the entire week about
every
this.
day.
So quick thoughts.
To be honest, we haven't seen a whole lot of them because they did have the COVID issues. What we do know is that they had to replace a quarterback. They had to replace their running back. They had to replace 9 starters on defense. And so far, the results haven't been good. I don't think that Utah is one of the stronger teams in the conference, although they are up 22-10 right now on Oregon State.
And that's an Oregon State team with now a backup quarterback.
True. That is a very important note that you made. And I don't think they have Jamar Jefferson today. No, they don't. No. So don't read anything into this one win that Utah will have. Jake Bentley, the guy they brought in from South Carolina who's been playing quarterback, the transfer.
More like Jake Honda.
Yeah, I mean, that sums it up.
That one
sure. That actually does solve how I was going to explain who he is.
Hopefully I wasn't muted and everyone else got to hear that.
No, you weren't muted.
Good.
Okay. Hashtag DNVR shocks. And then don't
Give
worry.
me my own beat. Give me the DNVR Shocks beat. Oh my goodness.
And of course, gotta make fun of me as well. So it's not just
Candid yams.
Candid yams. Candid yams.
That's so good.
Not even like canned yams.
Nope.
Candid.
Candid yams.
Which means that they're like posing for an Instagram picture.
Yeah, it's literally every Instagram model's dream to have candid yams.
Wow.
Please.
Even that, we got a great joke out of it. What else do we have,
Yeah,
Allie?
that's all that happened on the beginning of TDSP last week. The Denver Sports Podcast is they just made fun of me. Then they made fun of me again on this latest episode. So
Wow.
One thing that I would say is
Candid
it's official.
yams.
I'm top 5. You're not starting. When I crash
Fudge! You almost made me curse.
Fudge, yeah, nice catch. You
I muted you.
Fudge, and you solved it. You're muted.
You're muted.
official. I'm top 5. You're not starting. When I crash boards, I throw bows like Kenyon Martin.
Oh, I love Kenyon Martin,
Absolute
baby.
bar.
Wow. Wow.
Okay.
I don't know. I think Pierre Selly may it's just Sally on here. He's on YouTube. That's what that is. But yeah,
Sally, yes, he
Sally.
wants to make fun of all of us.
All right.
I think that's it.
Have we
guys.
hit 2 hours yet?
1:55.
Oh.
5 more minutes, guys. I don't know if I have 5 more minutes
This is
worth of thoughts.
officially the longest
actually, though.
DNVR Buffs
Yeah.
post-game show.
Buffs versus Volunteers Wednesday.
Oh,
Tad
let's
Boyle.
talk basketball.
Absolutely. We're not going to talk too long about this, but Tad Boyle did it again. Like he called up Mines, was like, "Sorry, we're busy." Then called up Tennessee and was like, "Hey, let's play." Kim English, former Colorado assistant, is at Tennessee. I actually assume it probably went the other way around. He called Tad and was like, "Yo, you guys want an RPI boost? We'll play you. We're ranked number 12 in the country. Come on down." What is incredible about this, though, and this is really my main takeaway, is Tad got a home and home out of it.
Yep.
And that is some wheeling and dealing. Now think about this. Tad gets a home and home out of Tennessee. He also was able to move the Kansas game to next year, hopefully, when there's fans. So Tad Boyle is having himself a year. Not only on the recruiting trail, not only with a 2-0 start, but he's able to pull this Tennessee game. He's able to move the Kansas game. I mean, he is that Tad Boyle is so hot right now.
Tad Boyle is hot right now. So is Tennessee. I'll say that. Have they played?
No. They have
still
had
haven't.
5 straight games canceled.
Wow.
And that's what's so fascinating about this game is you don't really know what to expect out of Tennessee. Obviously, you know what players are going to have that are returning and what new guys they bring, but you haven't had a chance to see them in the national spotlight. And that's big because Virginia, they dropped an easy game early. They lost to San Francisco. I think they were the ones who lost to San Francisco. And so teams that are ranked high drop a lot of early games because they haven't figured themselves out yet. And so if Tennessee drops this game, hypothetically, Colorado picks up a win against Tennessee on the road, and the Volunteers go on to still win 22 games, that's going to look incredible because that's going to be a quadrant 1 win in the net rankings. And, you know, I always like to break it down on Selection Sunday. They have 2 things. What are your good wins? What are your bad losses? This is a slam dunk because if you beat Tennessee, that's a good win. But it's not going to be a bad loss.
It's a good loss.
Yeah, so it's
good losses.
it's perfect.
All right, I keep forgetting that there's no RPI anymore. It's just net.
Yeah,
It's all the same.
it's
Net.
It's so much
Clever.
Yeah,
Glad we fit a basketball pun into the name of a stat. That's important.
That is
but, yeah.
actually important.
Come on.
Have you learned nothing today? Puns are everything. So yeah, it's going to be a great game. We're going to break it down this week too. I'm going to start working on a full Tennessee breakdown as of tomorrow morning as well, so we can get that out there.
Better
And
be
also,
good.
shameless plug, since we're just pushing for 2 hours now, even though Allie's ready to go home. Lots
I'm
of cool,
just ready to eat. I'm really hungry.
lots
I'm
of
hungry,
good
too.
college basketball content on the horizon, so really keep your eyes peeled for that. I'm going to be working with Justin Michael over at the Rams, and it's not going to have anything really to do with Rams or Buffs. It's going to be all on a national perspective to get you ready for conference play, for the tournament. We're going to give you everything you need to win your brackets and all that fun stuff. So
This
And
guy
also-
plugging in
Just plugging away.
Great
And
rate.
also, we will be doing post-game shows for Buffs basketball. It might not be after every single game, but at least once a week so that you guys get that same content that you're getting for football. Yeah. I might not be producing every single one of those.
Yes, you
'cause
will be.
You guys might drive me crazy.
No, but that's part of it.
We need.
This isn't
50
a
more
3-person
seconds.
show.
That's part of the dynamic.
four.
you
The
know?
dynamic.
Yeah.
Honestly, just shout out to everyone who hung out with us for 2
Yeah.
hours.
Yeah.
We've still
Yeah.
got around 100 people hanging out with us.
so
That's
dope.
it's
a
incredible.
pretty solid number.
We are building this Buffs community, not just with football, but with basketball too. This community is big. You know, the Broncos, the Nuggets guys, they've gotten their chance. So now it's our turn. Allie, you're a pivotal part of that role.
Yeah.
Because we'd be pushing 3 bills right now.
Yeah.
So
It's true. Just
True.
like Jarek Broussard.
We'd still be talking biggest
see, and it all
takeaways.
tied together.
Yeah, you guys really would still be. No, you were doing a good job. You transitioned to helmet stickers very well.
Thank
so
you.
you'd still be at helmet stickers, though.
Yeah.
I feel
We
like
could
that's
give
just
out helmet
always been
stickers all day.
my role on the DNVR Buffs podcast in some sense is when
Reining us in.
yeah, when the puns used to be so bad. It would be like 10 minutes and I would be like in the background saying like, someone save me. Help me.
Yeah. Dude, I was doing that. No, we don't need to go down. No
right,
time
yeah.
for stories. No time for
Go.
stories.
We officially hit 2 hours.
Let's go.
Oh,
Let's
okay,
go.
2 hours.
That's pretty good.
One more hour to match Jarek Broussard.
One more hour.
We're going for 3 hours and 1 minute in
Please.
solidarity with the leading Heisman candidate right now.
What's crazy is that we could do that so easily.
Yeah, we seriously could.
We could. But we won't because Henry has to create content for the entire rest of the week.
Yeah, and guess what? We will be back here at the bar for the tailgate tomorrow morning at 9:30, and I have things to write, and there's going to be a lot of fun stuff going on. And the Buffs are great. They're 4-0. It's going to be a fun close to the season. No, they're 5-0. 4-0. 4-0. One game got canceled. 2 hours. But again, appreciate everybody for listening. Appreciate Ryan and Ben and Allie for coming on, and we'll be here again next week. Until then, you can catch the DNVR Buffs podcast.
Copy.
Yeah.
You guys gotta wait.
Pushing 180, speeding past competition. See you later, baby. Colorado